Garcia,
Present.
Counselor Fred Rodarte,
Present.
Counselor Beverly Michael.
Present.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we get to approval of the agenda, if we could do some housekeeping, unless the council sees otherwise, but we had just got the contract from the attorney's office on the grants pantry service agreement, and I don't think anybody has really had a very good chance at looking at it. So with your guys' blessings, if we could maybe table that one or just take it off for today. And if I could get approval of the agenda otherwise.
Well, item number 1, 2 says approval of March 8th. That should be April 8th, because we didn't have a meeting March 8th.
Fran, is that right?
That was a special meeting?
Yes.
March.
We had a,
It was on April the 8th.
oh, okay. You don't have to vote on it, or I can put it back on the next agenda?
What's at the council
No,
meeting
that's
minutes?
fine.
No, you just
It's
dated
just
it.
a
You just
typo.
dated it, Ross. It's a typo.
Yeah, it's
So
just a
we did.
typo.
Law motion that we approve the agenda, correcting the typo for item 1.2 to April 8, and tabling item
1-5.
1.5. Thank you.
Second,
Second.
roll call, Counselor Garcia,
Yes.
Counselor Michael,
Yes.
Counselor Gutierrez.
Yes.
Counselor Rodarte.
Yes.
Thank you, the agenda will pass. All righty, discussion of charter compliance. Thank you very much. Citizens to address the council. Mrs. Peterson.
Thank you. Thank you, all of you, and thank the public for coming. This is your government. I'm here on behalf of the Double Six Gallery.
Can you talk into the mic, ma'am?
Oh, sorry.
Couldn't hear
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah, there we go.
Sorry. Thank you. I just wanted to provide a brief update on what's been going on at the gallery. The tourist season has begun, trust me. We have had 7 French bikers come and visit us, look at our exhibits. We have had one very tall British gentleman come, and he's loving going on Route 66. We've had another French couple come, and a German couple. And it seems all of them fly into Chicago, rent vehicles. The British man said he rented a Nissan. We translated that to Nissan. He was quite impressed with the mileage and the way it drove on the right side of the road. And he said he loved being in America. He did not travel the interstates. He specifically wanted to be on Route 66 as much as possible. He wanted to stay in mom and pop motels and eat at independent eateries. So he is very, very complimentary about the people that he has met on his travel. And the French couple had kind words to say. And the other day I went to the park and there was a German couple there visiting. The lady was very impressed and happy to be back in America after a 30-year absence. And she did notice there's so much plastic in this country. Everything is plastic. I said, yes, I couldn't deny it. But it is something noticeable. And in closing, I just want to tell you that our next exhibit begins in June, and it is called Mount Taylor and Friends. So please come and visit. Please, it's your gallery, and we love to have visitors. Mr. Rodarte, in fact, visited us recently. So thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am. Rick Whitten.
My name's Rick Witten. I'm the warden at the Western New Mexico Correctional Facility, and I haven't had a chance to get out in the community just a whole lot since I've been here. I've been here a short time, but I just wanted to introduce myself and let you guys know that we want to be a part of this community. We want to do anything that we can to help. If there's something that we can do, we'd be glad to entertain that. And when a lot of people think about working at a prison, they think about correctional officers, and that's really as far as they go. But I just wanted to let everybody know that we have a lot of positions available out there right now, especially in our education department. We've got teacher positions that are open right now, and I've also got my HR manager, Michelle Slater, with me, my executive assistant, Isabel Martinez, and my facilities manager, Eric Martinez, and they'll be here afterwards if anybody has any questions about that. But I just wanted to share with you that our education department is now paying $23 to $31 an hour, depending on experience in education. You don't have to be a certified teacher to work out there. If you have some teaching experience, substitute teaching, things like that, public speaking, a lot of things like that can get you qualified to be a teacher out there and help us run our programs and make better citizens out of those offenders when they get out and come back. So I just wanted to introduce myself and congratulations, you guys, and just let you know that we're here, and if you need something that we can help you with, we'd be glad to.
Exchange numbers with that guy, Les Gaines, right there. We're building a 25-mile loop, and we'd love your guys' service there. That guy right there, Les Gaines.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Harry Garcia. Hello,
Thank
sir.
you, Mayor, board members, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Harry Garcia. As you know, I'm your state representative. First of all, I would like to congratulate all these kids back here. You know, I went and saw that game out in Albuquerque, and that one diving catch that Mr. Melones did, I don't know which one it is, but I think he kind of saved the whole day for the whole state, you know. And I saw here on the agenda, Mr. Mayor, that we should do a day for them. I think we should do a little bit more than a day for them. We should organize some kind of a good parade for them. Because, you know, to be state champions the first time in the history of Grants, that's huge. That is huge. And, you know, I don't know how we can do it, but if I could be a part of that, I'd be more than glad to help fund that out. Because, you know, it doesn't happen every day. You know, it very rarely it happens. You know, and I was there for that game, and it was something else, you know. Thanks, guys. Anyway, I need to bring one thing up, Mr. Mayor, is I've been talking to Gunny Garcia, Commissioner Garcia, about changing the name on the main street to Route 66. And we were going to have a meeting today with the Secretary of Transportation, but your internet system doesn't work with his or whatever reason, but I rescheduled him for the next next city council meeting. And, you know, you need to make people aware, if you do want to do this, you're going to have issues with address changes on the main street. And I think you've already addressed that issue. And it would be really, really nice to name it Route 66 instead of Santa Fe Avenue. You know, we got Santa Fe Avenue and Santa Fe and everywhere else. But, you know, the Secretary is more than willing to come the next meeting and address the issues and tell you how it needs to get done. And if you guys are on board for that, that would be really sweet. You know, to me, you know, I've lived here all my life, and I always ask, why Santa Fe Avenue? You know, but it's what it is. But there will be some expense to some people, and I'm pretty sure they're aware of who it's going to involve. But if you guys want to do that, I'll be more than glad to step up to that plate. And with that being said, Mayor and Council, thank you for letting me speak. I'm running a little bit late today, but I really want to congratulate the coaching staff, the kids, the parents, you know, because they motivate these kids. You know, there's a lot of motivation here today. And, you know, to me, to make it a day for them, we need to make it big for them. Thank you for that.
Yes, sir, thank you. All righty, we're on 1.1, discussion action approval of proclamation Grants High School Baseball Team State Champion Day. All right, well, let's talk about a little bit about dreaming big. I was talking to Councilor Gutierrez before, and some of these were your students, right? And we remember them as when they were younger, and you guys were dreaming big, right? You were dreaming big to play on the Knuckleheads and start traveling and become the team that you became today. And it's impressive. Like right now, what you guys accomplished, no one other baseball team, and we all tried, right? You tried your senior year, I tried my senior year. There was no way. You guys blow every team out of the water, whatever came before you guys. And you guys are impressive. It's you guys motivated the city of Grants like I've never seen. The parades of sending you guys off, to the game over there, to the excitement of the games that were here, to the championship day was, I couldn't explain it. I mean, you guys were there, duh, but it was phenomenal. It was, I don't know, it was big. I can't even say how, like, I wish there was firecrackers right now going off. But I want to read this. It's the City of Grants, New Mexico proclamation. Grants High School Boys Baseball Team, 2024 4A State Champion Day, May 29th, 2024. Whereas Grants High School has earned its first baseball championship title. Whereas the 2023-2024 Grants Pirates qualified for the state tournament May 2024. Whereas on May 18th, 2024, the Grants Pirates beat Artesia Bulldogs Boys State Championship with a score of 5-3. Whereas the students not only brought home the state championship for their school, but served as ambassadors for the city of Grants as they played throughout their season. Whereas Grants Pirates head coach Mike Furby has coached his players in baseball, teamwork, responsibility, perseverance, and community service. Therefore, I, Eric Garcia, Mayor, do hereby proclaim May 29th, 2024 as Grants High School Boys Baseball 2024 4A State Championship Day, given under my hand of seal of the City of Grants, New Mexico on 29th day of May 2024. Yeah, I want the whole team to come up here. I want the whole team to just kind of, if you guys can gather around, the coaches, everybody, gather around right here. Let's take a big group photo. And
Mr. Mayor, can I say one thing
Yes,
before?
sir.
To the state of New Mexico, I'm going to get each and one of these players a certificate from the state of New Mexico recognizing them. And as soon as I get into Santa Fe, when I get the paperwork, I will get it done for all these kids.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Thank you, Representative.
Tell them to have them line up around here.
Let's have some in the bottom. Let's have some up top. Coaches, you guys are here. Come on, coaches. Come on, Dwayne. Come on, coaches. Coaches. Come on. Man. Danny, thank you guys. Hey, you guys are awesome.
Congratulations.
Oh.
Amazing. I've had fun watching this.
The Sandra Fell Express. Oh, man.
Thank you.
That's crazy.
How wonderful. Thank you so much. Congratulations, guys.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Coach. Thank you guys.
Sure.
What's up, Coach?
Congratulations, coaches. Work paid off well. I know this song.
Well, there
Who's
you
gonna
go.
sing
Here's
it?
your champion team. Wow. Hey,
We gotta sing the fight song.
can you see the fight song? You
Do you know it?
guys know it? You guys know
I
it's
still
right
know
here.
it by heart.
Ready?
All hail to dear old Grandson, the pride of all the West. We'll sing of the story and we'll yell the glory of the school we love the best of the best. All hail to dear old Grandson, forever we'll be true. And we'll always stand every heart and hand for the honor of old Grandson. GHS!
All right, let's take a picture. Ready? Let's get in here. Let's get a picture.
Good
You guys
job,
get in here.
guys. Doing it a long time.
All right.
When we were kids. Patty Martinez.
Everywhere. Just shift your eyes every couple seconds.
All righty, guys. I appreciate you guys. Thank you, guys. Thank you. That was awesome.
We'll get you guys
I'll
a
see you guys next
parade.
year. But I think the alumni game, we're gonna take you. Yeah, guaranteed, huh? Yeah.
It's on the umpire.
Details on the umpire. We'll pay him off for sure.
Hey, I take. I pulled a hammy.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Let's see.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's pretty cool.
That's very nice.
So, cake? Okay. Hey, you guys, there's some cake back there. You guys can eat sugar now. The season's over. You guys get some cake. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Counselor Michael?
Yes, congratulations, Grants Pirates baseball. Again, thank you to all coaches, players, parents who get them there. Thank you all so much for everything that you do for our community. Let's get them a parade.
Counselor Rodarte?
I understand that there was two of you that couldn't make it to graduation because of your dedication to baseball. I want to commend you for that, and also the whole team. You have really done good for the city of Grants. I think you guys have put us on the map. Thank you guys so much for the great things that you did. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Gutierrez.
Yeah. You know, since you guys won state, I've been part of a couple state championship teams. I know Mr. Garcia's been, with his ROTC. But man, I don't know what it was. Like, I'm not even part of your team, but I felt like I was part of it, like a lot of us in Grants. I got to go to the state game, and it was electrifying. I seen some parents there almost in tears. I saw fans in tears, like just the emotions of it. And that's kind of what sports is all about. But I also know that a lot of you guys, it starts at home. I see a lot of your parents from you guys are little kids, travel ball. The coaching staff that you have, those are examples of men. And it's not just what you do on the baseball field. I know they always encourage athletics. How you are on the field is how you are off the field, integrity. But I know these coaches from growing up as well. And Coach Saraceno, he's been there since we were there. And we won't say how long ago it was, but it was a little bit ago. But, and I just want to direct, to the coaches, thank you guys. That made us all feel special. Coach Mike Furby, man, what can I say? Probably the greatest coach of all of Grants has ever had. 4 state championships, 3 in softball, 1 in baseball. And I know he's very humble, and he's not going to direct it to him. And he directs it to his staff and his players, and gives a lot of praise to, everyone else. And that's what a real coach is. But then again, I could go on forever. I mean, Cameron McDougal, the Malonis boys, like, they were in my third grade class, and I still remember how they were as kids. I mean, Cameron, what were you, top 10 in academics this year too? Top 10. Like, it's not just on the field. Like, these young men and young lady over there, they're phenomenal. And I have to say, parents, good job to you guys. And again, thank you guys from a lot of my heart for, a lot of people. I don't speak for all the community, but it was a big win for us all. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilor Garcia.
I've always said that our youth in this community can stand up against anyone in the state, in the country, and you guys proved that. It took a lot of leadership, I know, throughout the season, even last season, because you guys built on that. And just watching you guys, it's like, they're going to do it, man. They're going to do it. You didn't allow it to distract you, didn't allow Academy to distract you. And anytime you can go into Albuquerque and beat a team from down south when they overlook Grants is awesome. And you guys did it, just like the other councilors are saying and the mayor. It just brought chills to everybody in Grants, because you represented us and you represented us well. And that includes the coaches, the leadership, all of you. And I got to give a shout out to my nephews, Eric Jr., one of the coaches, Esteban Varela, Steve, man, a sophomore phenomena, Bella being on the team. You guys made the family proud, But thank you to all for representing Grants. You did make Grants High School a home of scholars and champions. So thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Pirates, I'm one proud mayor. I mean, we could go on all night, but you guys keep dreaming big, okay? Thank you guys very much. Okay, we'll call the meeting to end at, just kidding, guys. You guys are welcome to leave if you want to stick around, if you guys are into. I didn't think so. Thank you, guys.
Is that the prom
I just
queen?
want to give a shout out to Rebecca Sandoval,
Rebecca Sandoval, the prom queen.
Mrs. GHS, 1998. Awesome, huh? That's cool. All righty, we'll just, let's go on with 1.2 discussion. Oh, no, we need to go for a motion. I'm sorry. Can I get a motion on that proclamation?
I would love to make a motion for the approval of proclamation Grants High School Baseball Team State Champions Day, today, May 29th, 2024.
Thank you very much. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you very much. Roll call. Councilor Garcia?
Yes.
Councilor Michael?
Yes.
Councilor Gutierrez?
Yes.
Councilor Rodarte?
Yes.
Right on. Thank you very much. All right, 1.2, discussion action approval of April 8th, 2024 special city council meeting minutes. If I get a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve for the approval of April 8th, 2024 special city council meeting minutes.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Roll call. Councilor Garcia?
Yes.
Councilor Michael?
Yes.
Councilor Gutierrez?
Yes.
Councilor Rodarte?
Yes.
Thank you. Those will pass. 1.3, discussion action approval April 24th, 2024 regular city council meeting minutes. Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion for approval of April 24th, 2024 regular city council meeting minutes.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call. Councilor Garcia?
Yes.
Councilor Michael?
I'll abstain. I was not present.
Councilor Gutierrez?
Yes.
Councilor Rodarte?
Yes.
Okay, those will pass. Thank you very much. All right, we're on 1.4, discussion action approval of reappointment of Bruce Pritchard to the Planning and Zoning Commission on July 26, 2024 for a 2-year term. Fran and I did call Mr. Pritchard. He has been on the Planning and Zoning for 8 years now. He's one of the senior members. He's pretty knowledgeable and wants to keep giving his service to the community. And with that said, he was all in favor. Is Mr. Pritchard here? He said he might come. Nope. Okay. With that said, can I get a Discussion? If not, if I could get a motion.
I'll make a motion for the approval of reappointment of Bruce Pritchard to the Planning and Zoning Commission on July 26, 2024 for a 2-year term.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Roll call. Counselor Garcia?
Yes.
Counselor Michael?
Yes.
Counselor Gutierrez?
Yes.
Counselor Ugarte?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Pritchard. Okay. Okay, we're on 1.6, discussion action approval fiscal year 25 comprehensive community health council professional service contract. Hello, Laura. How are you?
Good evening, Mayor, City Council,
Good evening.
manager and staff. It's great to be here this evening. Oh, let me put the mic on. Is this one on? Testing? Okay. So I wanted to go over how we get Health Council funding. So the state of New Mexico funds 33 health councils and 10 tribal health councils. Acoma Pueblo has a health council in our county. And so we've been receiving money in our county for many years, probably since the 1990s. And a couple of years ago, Donald and the Department of Health asked me if I would help get our health council back up and running. So we've been doing that, and I wanted to kind of report to you what we've been doing this last year. So this last year, we got approximately $70,000, and the Department of Health gives the health council coordinators a scope of work. And once you complete those tasks, then you can bill for those items. And so on our scope of work, we were supposed to have at least 3 meetings and then turn in our agendas and minutes. We had 4 official health council meetings, and we had 2 additional meetings that we called cross-systems collaboration. And so those cross-systems collaboration were meetings. We had a youth group where we pulled the school personnel together, the JPO, the CYFD, the courts, the police departments, and we talked about at-risk youth and what issues that they were facing and what resources they needed to address those needs. Then we had an adult cross-systems collaboration group with adult agencies that are working with adults that are being incarcerated and getting in trouble with the law. And we talked about what the issues were, because I had attended a forum that the courts had back in May last year, and it came up that many agencies are working with the same clients, but they don't have opportunities to discuss how things are going. So we pulled those groups together. The other thing we did this last year is we had completed a comprehensive community health improvement plan, and our focus, the group chose to focus on behavioral health. And so we came up with goals and strategies, and now this year we're reporting on how we're doing on those goals and strategies. We have to do monthly reports for the Department of Health, and we attend a lot of statewide meetings that they have with other health council coordinators and Department of Health staff. And one of the things, let me look at this real quick. Part of what we do too is we're supposed to help us pick a priority. And so we pull together data from our county. We have the health council members look at that, and then we select what areas do we need to focus on. So we also had to do a fact sheet. And so those fact sheets get handed out at the state level. They get handed out at community meetings. And you have a copy in your packet tonight. So the fact sheet has some data on there, and I think I went over this last year. One side has data, it shows our county, and it says our poverty rate. Cibola County has the 4th highest poverty rate in New Mexico. Per capita income, we have the lowest of all 33 counties per capita income, and I think I mentioned this to you when I started doing this work this last couple of years. I realized before we were a poor community, but this really hit home with me. We have a lot of poor families. Children raised by grandparents. We have the highest in New Mexico in 2020 of children being raised by grandparents. And so that says a lot to us. That's not a bad thing, and some of it's cultural. But when we're working with individuals and providing resources, we kind of keep in mind that maybe it's not a younger couple, but it's an elderly couple that needs different kind of resources. New Mexico has the 4th highest rate of suicide in the USA, and New Mexico's substance use. Amphetamine overdose based on emergency visits, Cibola County has 44.9 per 100,000. The state rate is 10. So ours is quite a lot higher. Alcohol-related chronic disease deaths per 100,000. New Mexico's 39.8, Cibola County is 62.7. Youth current marijuana use stood out to me. Our rate of youth current marijuana use, 9th through 12th grade, is 42%. And the state's was 27%. And when we had the meeting with the schools and youth agencies working with youth, they talked a lot about the vaping that's going on and that children are getting involved in. And families seem to think that because marijuana is legal, that it's okay for the children too, but we're trying to educate that it's not legal for youth. So you have that fact sheet. It has our community partners who we work with, and those are the agencies and individuals that attend the Health Council meetings. And then we listed our strategies at the bottom of the one side. To increase access to services is one of our goals. Another is to raise awareness and reduce stigma around mental health and behavioral health. And then to increase community engagement. So sometimes in small communities, we tend to get in conflicts with each other, and instead of working together, we work against each other. So we feel it's very important that we start pulling our agencies together, all of our police departments, all of our government, our health providers, and really work together to share resources. Let's see. I won't go over all of that with you, but we used to do a resource guide that the Health Council developed, but when I came on, Cibola General Hospital has a fantastic resource guide. So we utilize theirs, and then we channel information to their staff to add to the resource guide. But then there's a state-level resource guide that I realized was way out of date. It was about 3 years out of date, so I spent a little time this year helping them update and take out things that were no longer available and add some new things at the state level. We also, this year, we created an apartment guide. So we were personally trying to find an apartment for a family member, and I realized how hard it is to find housing here in Grants. And I had heard that, but I had never tried to find housing for someone. And it's extremely hard to find contact numbers of where to even look. So I put together, and I think that's in your packet tonight too, an apartment guide. And I'll keep updating that, but I hope that's very helpful to people. I know I had to gather all that, so I thought I might as well create something for other people and start distributing it. Let's see. We have about 30 active members on the Health Council right now. We also, this year, created a Facebook account. And so with the Facebook account, we're trying to post announcements and important information for the community. So in your packet, you have a contract. It's in June, the contract that I have with the city will expire. The city is the physical agent. The funding belongs to the Health Council, and you are the pass-through agency. I mentioned to Councilor Michael that I would like to retire and try to pass this on to someone else. But I don't want to just retire because I'm afraid it'll get dropped by the side. So I would like to continue to contract for maybe 3 to 6 more months, work with your manager, and I spoke with Andrew a little bit, or I emailed him anyway, and your human resource person, and try to work to create a job description and hire someone to facilitate the Health Council. So currently, I'm doing it part-time. But at the end of this year, you're going to have about $150,000 in that account, and scheduled to get $70,000 this next year, plus another $20,000 for a climate change grant that I applied for. And so you'll have plenty of money if you choose that you would like to hire a full-time person. Counselor Michael is part of our health council, and she's given us some excellent ideas in the behavioral health realm. And she had recommended at one point that we create a human resource person for our county, but she saw in Las Cruces where they have such an individual, not a human resource, a health and human services, sorry. And Las Cruces has such a position funded by their county. But we have enough money in this pot to do something similar. Because it's grant funding, you may want to do a contract person, but you may want to say, we're going to go ahead and hire a person that's a city employee, and if the funding runs out 3 years down the road, we're going to keep it going, or maybe we'll join efforts with the county and the village and we'll fund this position. But Health and Human Services is a really big thing in our community. It's impacting our schools, it impacts our police department, our communities. We're having a lot of theft and crime and drugs, and so we might have a beautiful city, the cleanest, safest city, but if our citizens are having a lot of behavioral health issues, we're not going to be doing well. Our families aren't going to be thriving. And so, it's not something typically cities and government entities always focus on, but it's something I think it's a reality we need to focus on. So you have the same contract in your packet that I had last year. There's no increases. I've been spending about 40 hours a month is what it takes me to meet the requirements that the state has brought on us. One additional thing, the county is a part of an opioid remediation project, and because of my involvement, I got selected to be the lead for that. And it's not a paid position, it's volunteer, but it's part of my health council work I've been doing. But we're slated, our county, well, the 7 counties are slated to get about $16 million every year for 18 years. And so it's a lot of funding, and the reason I became real interested is I want to make sure that our county gets our fair share and that we get the resources we need to. Sometimes we're not very aggressive or assertive, and we kind of get left in the wind when, they're looking at communities. But I think some of the other counties are Hidalgo, Socorro, Catron County. I can't remember all 7 off the top of my head, but we just had our first lead meeting. But they're looking at doing things like prevention programs in our schools. They're looking at creating treatment for opioid disorders, to have that available for citizens. But there's a lot of options that are going to be coming available to us through that program. So we want to make sure we stay in the loop.
Thank you very much. I'm glad you brought it up about being the safest, cleanest city. I've been working with the Representative Harry Garcia and Senator Munoz on trying to figure out what we can do to bring some type of mental health facility to try to bring that into our community, because it is well needed. I mean, we've seen that. It's part of the puzzle. So to be the cleanest, safest city, we're really trying to get to that. So thank you for bringing that up, and that is part of the puzzle. Councilor Michael?
So thank you for that, Laura. I have a couple of questions. Does Grants currently have a behavioral health task force?
It's the health council.
It is the health council?
Yes.
Okay. And then you mentioned there was $150,000, and that was from other grant applications or state
That is
funding?
from the money that I've billed for over the last 2 years that's sitting in the city coffers.
Okay. And then the 70,000 came from?
That's, we got emails about a week ago that will be the amount that's coming out this next year.
For
And
state?
yes, and I have to put in an application by June 14th.
Okay. And then you said that you got the climate change grant.
We did, and so far with that one, that's about 60,000, and it's been 20,000 last year and 20 this year and then 20 next year. But most of that, they've just been training. There's 6 health councils in that project, They've been training us on how climate change affects our health, and they've selected to look at water quality in our communities, and they're going to have us start looking at our laws around water quality here in the future.
That's good news.
Yeah.
Lead opioid remediation project, that's an important team for you to be on, because it is a lot of resources, a lot of financial resources to bring out to communities, and it is important that Cibola County and Grants gets a fair share. On just speak a little bit about what a Health and Human Services coordinator would do. This is a model that is in Doña Ana County, and what they did through their county commission was formed a Health and Human Services position and staffed that position, and with that they were able to go after grant funding and state funding to open what is called a crisis treatment center and have what is called a crisis response team. The idea of a treatment center itself is a good idea. However, the logistics for staffing something like that and the manpower and the workforce, we don't really have that right now in our community. The prisons take our resource, we have people working in all these different entities, and there's not a lot of people left that would be able to work in an RTC, a residential treatment center. But to start out, as a goal to get help towards moving to something like that, what their crisis treatment center can do is help with calls from EMS and fire rescue and law enforcement. So when they're going out on a mental health call, a CTC trained member could go with them on that call. That person could help. That person, they can actually turn the person in distress over to someone in the treatment crisis center to help them through it. And then it wouldn't require other stuff regarding law enforcement. We don't have protective custody holds. There's not a lot we can do when something like that is happening. The other thing is, for our services are getting tied up. We have often law enforcement is going to arrest somebody who's under the influence of alcohol, who's inebriated. Often their blood alcohol content level is so high that they cannot be safely admitted into the jail. So they then, I don't think this is still happening, and if I'm mistaken, someone can correct me, but they go to the emergency room at the hospital. Client service aides, I've seen mostly taking them. The CSAs have them in there, and they're doing, they're staying with them. They're basically babysitting them in the emergency room till their blood alcohol is low enough, and they're safe for them to take and book into the jail. A treatment CTC that's set up as maybe even additional to that, a detox center would be your next step for something like that. Since you're doing medical supervision,
We have a
EMS.
point of order. We're on the service contract. You're going off.
Yeah, well, I'm just wanting to explain what Ms. Laura brought up regarding Health and Human Services. I don't think I'm off topic. I'll try to make it quick, but it is something that we could very well have in grants. The medical assisted detox could take it out of the hospital and the jail's hands and handle it through a more proper entity who could do, then your chances actually of then getting those folks into residential
Point of order.
treatment that's in the state
Point of order.
is
Point of
a
order.
lot better.
Point of
So
order.
thank you for bringing it up, Ms. Jaramillo.
Point
I
of order,
appreciate
Mrs.
the opportunity
Counselor Michael.
to talk about it.
Point of order.
Thank you.
Do you not recognize that? It's even the attorney says you're out of point of order. Thank you for pushing through. The attorney, do you agree she was out of a point of order? Okay.
I was bringing up
Okay,
things
point
she
of
was
order.
talking about, so
Councilor Rodarte.
I just.
Laura,
get
this says that the contract terminates next month?
No, I think it's supposed to be the end of, did they have the right one in there? It's supposed to
It's
be
a-
the end of next June.
Yeah. it
Oh,
So it
Okay.
should- it should be 2025 then,
Yes.
2024?
Yes.
Oh, okay, that, all right. I thought this is only for a month.
yeah, no, it's supposed to go. And I may be done earlier than that, but I'd like to work with your staff to get somebody on board and trained to take this on.
Well, Laura, we hate to see you go
Yeah, I'm enjoying my partial retirement too much.
with your grandkids, right?
Yeah, right.
Well, thank you, Laura, for coming and addressing us. I think this is a great thing, and it's very much needed in this area. It needs to be, continue to go forward and even made bigger so that people can get the help that they need.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Laura.
And I think I mentioned in the fact sheet, we've brought in over $3 million since 2000 through the Health Council. And just being in that realm, you get notified about lots of funding, and I can't tell you how many times we were called and given funding through the Family Center for programs, so.
That's all I have.
Thank you. Councilor Gutierrez.
Yeah, like you said, you've been a big supplement to mental health, and being in the school systems, you know, that's where it starts. Some of these mentally ill patients around town, which I've seen a lot recently, and just had a incident with my mom at her house. You know, those are scary things, and I don't think, you know, it's just something that mentally ill people deal with. But just kind of what you've been doing, like since you've come aboard, like it's recognized, it's seen, and just seeing all your partnerships, they're where they're needed. So you're on the right track, and I hope someone with knowledge and that you pass down the passion will continue what you've been doing. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. Councilor Garcia.
So do you have someone in mind, or?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't. So I think I'd work with Andrew and Michelle and decide, is it going to be contract? Is it going to be a city employee? And we can I can help them do a job description based on other health councils, but we can expand it out to be full-time or part-time, but whatever you guys desire.
Yeah, because this is much needed, like you said, and I know talking to the legislators, it's nationwide and it's closing in on us. And based on our demographics, I know you working with the Pueblos, the chapter houses, we need this. The other thing I was going to ask, so this is budgeted, the contract?
Yes.
We're looking towards next year, that being in our budget. Okay, thank you, that's all I have.
Laura, thank you very much for your time, and I'm happy for your retirement. Enjoy your retirement, and I appreciate you everything what you've done for the Health Council, because there's a lot of knowledge that you have, and I hope we find somebody that you can really mentor to take over the role. Thank you very much.
Sounds good.
That said, can I get a motion, please?
I'll make a motion for the approval of fiscal year 25 Comprehensive Community Health Council Professional Services Contract.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
I'll
second.
Thank you. Roll call. Councilor Garcia.
Yes.
Councilor Michael.
Yes.
Councilor Gutierrez.
Yes.
Councilor Rodarte.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Laura. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura.
All right, 1.7, discussion actual approval of DNR tank rehab amending fund of the amount of $174,842.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, City Manager. So I'm here, we've already we've already had this approval in place. There was an error in the amount, so the original amount that was approved was $178,842. So I'm coming today to see if, to ask for approval and for the corrected amount of $174,842, excluding NMGRT, for the DNR tank to complete the additional work to San Jose 500,000 gallon water tank. So that work is already being done. It was already approved. It was just an error in the cost of the original amount.
By $4,000?
Correct.
So we're under?
Correct.
Comments from the council? Councilor Michael?
I have no comments.
Councilor Gutierrez?
No comment.
Councilor Rodarte?
So we're going to save $4,000? Is that what you're saying?
We are, but we got to figure out where to spend it somewhere else, though. It's the 5 million water.
Part of the fund.
So that project's already ongoing, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because I passed by there and I see a bunch of trucks over there.
Right, and I
Good.
had gone by the project a couple weeks ago, and I took some pictures, and I had sent some pictures of the interior, because, I mean, obviously, that's not something anybody's going to see once it's done. So I did take some pictures and send some out. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
I've
it's
seen
looking
those.
good. It's looking really good. Yeah.
Thank you, Nadine. Thank you. That's all I have.
Councilor Garcia?
No questions.
Thank you very much. So on the rehab, it's gonna get a whole new paint job too, right?
It is the exterior as well.
So, yeah. Right on. With that, can I get a motion, please?
I'll make a motion for approval of DNR tank rehab amended funding in the amount of $174,842.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Roll call. Counselor Michael?
Yes.
Counselor Garcia?
Yes.
Counselor Gutierrez?
Yes.
Counselor Redarte?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, 1.8, we're on public safety. Hello, Chief. How are you?
Council, I'm good. How are you?
We're doing pretty all right.
I'm going to start off. I spoke with Chief Monty. Without going into too many details, her and her staff are working at Cibola General right now. There was an incident out at the prison in Milan, and they're assisting with issues that are going on at the hospital. So that's why her presence isn't here right now.
Thank you.
Yep, absolutely. My question to you, Mayor, Council, is I know you want an update of what's going on. Do you want an update of what's going on with the department every month? Do you want an update of what's going on with the EMS? What do you prefer?
I don't want it to like drag on for a long time, but I want to know your struggles. I want to know your successes, and we as a council need to know how we can help you more and more. So, just a little brief.
Okay, absolutely. I'll start off with, we have worked very closely with Senator Munoz and Representative Garcia on the needs of our department. They've helped us out quite a bit. They have connected us with a contact in the governor's office. We've applied for the purchase of a new ambulance. That was through the governor's office. I was talking to Diego, and I mean, there's some really good things happening, and he's excited for what's going on with the city of Grants. With
What's the
Grants Fire
value
and
of that?
Rescue. What's that?
What's the value of the bus?
Right around $300,000. The application has been sent in, just waiting for an approval, and that should come at any time. With the help of Senator Munoz and Representative Garcia, again, one step closer on the ladder truck. The quote should be here this week, and once the quote comes in, I'll start working with Council of Governments, and we're expecting a very smooth transition. 8 months is kind of what we're looking at for the ladder truck, up to 12 months for the ambulance, because we're looking at the build of an ambulance. I want to make it safer in the back, and there's some new technology that's coming out, and so I'm very excited to be able to work with these companies and get this ambulance built. Where else are we at? I want to let you guys know, the council, mayor, the public, any questions with Grants Fire and Rescue, call me. Come visit me. Let's make an appointment. I want to sit down and be very transparent about what's going on. I need to get more involved with the community. I need to get more involved with yourselves. So any questions, I would love to sit down and talk with anybody. With the assistance of the Public Works Department, the Street Department, and a thought, random thoughts that go through my head, the Street Department gained around 4,380 square feet of usable property in the back of Station 1. For those of you that haven't been back there for a while, there's just been this great big hill, and it's been a waste of space. And I thought, let's get this cut out. And working with Jorge, working with Luis, they did a great job back there. And we have a lot of room for training. Our guys can actually get back there and move around. Councilor Garcia, you were back there today. I don't know what you thought of that, but I was pretty excited. Just to know that we have the equipment and the talent in the city for them to do what they did and build a rock wall, erosion wall. They did a great job. And all we had to do is ask and come up with an idea. So I appreciate them very much. We had 2 personnel obtain their vehicle extrication certification down in Socorro at the State Firefighters Training Academy, as well as 1 other that obtained his Technical Rescuer Rope Rescue 2 certification. And so basically what that is going to force me to do is spend money on him. No, we need to buy equipment for him. He's going to be the guy that we go to if we have any rope rescue type incidents. He's trained. He's very well trained. And more of our crew is going to start doing that training. So it's just another step in the right direction for us. We had a mock training with the Public Works Department and the street, so it involves streets, pipes crew, where we dug a trench. They dug a trench in the MOC, approximately 6 foot deep, 6 or 7 feet long. We put a dummy in there, and we collapsed the dirt on top of the dummy. And my crews didn't know about it. And we toned it out as an incident. And they had to respond to it. And I think they did an amazing job. What I'm going to hand out to you is just a breakdown of the incident, of what Grants Fire and Rescue got out of the incident in response, in kind of where we need to excel, what we need to do. The pipes department, they learned what they need to do. The street department, everybody got something out of this training, and it was great to collaborate with another city entity that I don't remember ever doing with pipes, streets, stuff like that. So, if you don't mind passing that down, ma'am.
Pass it on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Thank you.
I'm not going to go into detail about this. I'm just going to let you review it at your convenience. And then if you have any questions about it, please give me a call or come by, and I'd love to talk to you about it. The fire department went to a training conducted by Continental Divide Electric. It's the first time in 20 years that we've ever had a training with them. They put on a fantastic 2-hour training and about electrical safety and what they do in the field. And it's a lot of knowledge they have up there. The co-op is doing a great job for the community, and they're going to reach out to law enforcement, more fire departments. They want to continue training with us. So it was great to actually sit down with them for 2 hours and have a training. You look surprised, Mayor.
I'm just like, you guys are all working together. It's weird.
We've completed school tours with 320 students that came through the fire department, or we went to the school, which is pretty fun. We have some guys that really are kids at heart, and they love to reach out and talk to these guys. I've met with forestry about a prescribed burn they had on Mount Taylor. They just wanted to keep me updated what was going on. While I was there in Mount Taylor Ranger District, I talked to them about the fireworks show, possible changing of the location. No matter what, the Mount Taylor Ranger District is on board and willing to work with us for the safety of our community, no matter what goes on. When you think of wildland firefighters, Ranger District, and structural firefighters, whether it's career or volunteer, not very many across the United States have the relationship that Mount Taylor Ranger District and Grants Fire has. And it's awesome. It's awesome to see. When we get people from Montana and stuff that come down to help Mount Taylor Ranger District, they're just shocked that for the 4th we're having a party for them. Cornhole, we give them chili beans. I mean, we do they're just blown away. They don't see it across the states. So that's an awesome thing. We assisted with the event in the park with law enforcement, Grants PD, with their newly formed chaplaincy unit of Cibola County Sheriff's Department. That was very good. It was nice to get out and see what the chaplaincy program is all about. It's not about one church, it's about multiple churches coming together. And so it was good to see, I mean, Grants Police Department, Milan Fire, Grants Fire, everybody out there. So it was a nice little event. What else do we have here that'll excite you? We, the fire department crew, not many of you know, but they're all on call. When they get off their 48-hour shift, they have a radio or they have an app on their phone. And unless they are very busy or just not available in town or whatever, they're on call. And when we have a large emergency, they come back. They come back and help. And that, I think it says a lot about the guys in the department. And girl, now we have Shauna, but it says a lot that these guys are dedicated to what our community, to helping our community. And they're dedicated to the program that we're working on right now. So I'm very, very proud of them. Last couple things, being the chief of the department, it's a step I wasn't sure that I wanted to ever take. I've learned to ask questions, expect the unexpected, and to be open-minded. With that being said, having a city manager, a finance director, and finance department, human resource director, the lawyers, other fire chiefs, firefighters, and officers to give me directions, opinions, and thoughts, I don't think I'd be where I'm at right now. You have to reach out, you have to work together, you have to collaborate. And I've learned a lot in 5 months. And nothing's going to stop us. We're going to keep moving forward. I'm truly proud of this department, the crew, and Jessica on how hard they work, and I'm truly blessed to have this crew. I'll stand for any questions.
Thank you, Chief. Counselor Michael?
No, I see how hard you guys work day in and day out, so we appreciate very much what you're doing. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
Done?
Pardon?
Are you done?
Clearly?
Counselor Garcia?
It seems like I can tell, your evolution personally, knowing you from before to now. And I'm glad to see you took the ball running. It's not just the next step in your retirement program.
Right.
I've seen, how it's changed. Last August, this was dropped on our lap, and the first people we turned to was you. What are we going to do? Can we do this? And you took it. And that shows me a lot about your leadership. That's what I look at in a cohesive unit, and that's what you have. People that go out and do the job because they want to, not because they have to. And that's what you've developed there. And I like seeing that. Today, I saw that out there. Now the training facility you had, and you didn't have to purchase no more property. Your collaboration was great. The foresight to say, no, you guys are the experts. Streets, how can you help us? Mm-hmm. And that's what I see. And I appreciate that, to see what you've done and how you've taken the department, because it's evolving. I know they're going to call on us. They are. We said it over and over. You're the best in the county. And they hate to admit it, but they need you. They need Grants Fire Department. The county and the village, they need us. So thank you for maintaining that extra level. The only question I have is the baby box. Is that still,
where does that? The baby box has been purchased. We're waiting for it to be delivered. Once it's delivered, then for the next fiscal year, we have budgeted for the construction. Once that is done, we're hoping by September is what I'm hoping for, that we'll have it in and we'll do a dedication. And we're pretty excited, especially Jessica. So, yes.
Well, good.
It's a great program, and we're glad to be a part of it.
Well, thank you for what you do and for your periodic updates, too. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you. Counselor Gutierrez?
And that's when you asked what kind of updates, what, just exactly those. Like, everything you shared with us is pretty much unknown unless you're rubbing elbows with you every day. But exactly what Mr. Garcia said, like, when I was thinking about, like, just now what you're saying and all the teamwork, collaboration, that's what we're setting the example for, like, our baseball team. You know what I mean? You're setting the tone right there, and it kind of, if anyone hears it, kind of makes me do better at my job. So I appreciate hearing what you say, and it's huge, like, how you thank your team of where it's at. And I think it comes in a package as well, because your wife's the same way. Always willing to help out, always reaching out, always like, what can I do better? And it's awesome. And, for being younger, it's good to see that, and it just kind of puts everyone in a direction. So when you give these updates, it's not just professionally, it's personally, it's by action, and you're just kind of letting us all know what you're doing. So I truly appreciate your words, your updates. I mean, this whole mock thing right here, and at first I was like, oh, that sounds pretty cool, and then you talk about who you worked with, and it's just like, man, like, that's pretty powerful in working in groups and networking, because we're only as strong as, our village is. So reaching out and getting other entities and other departments to help, I mean, it makes us that much better. So again, thank you very much.
Thank you. I taught her everything she knows, by the way.
She said sure.
Councilor Rodarte?
Chief, I was remembering that presentation you had here a while back, where that, was it a compression vest?
The Auto Pulse, yes.
The Auto Pulse, and seems like they're always inventing new things to make life better for people that are having problems. I was thinking about that ladder truck that you're talking about in the ambulance. Is there added bells and whistles to those two pieces of equipment that are going to benefit the city even better? Like, we're going to get a brand new ambulance, right? Yeah.
Yes. I mean, a brand-new ambulance it's just volumes of what it can represent for the city. Whether it means transporting 911, whether it means taking a patient from here to Albuquerque because they're critical and they can't be flown. Just having reliable equipment to respond to our citizens and the travelers' needs is of the utmost importance. Our newest ambulance is 11 years old now. Going on 12. So it's over 100,000 miles. It's had 3 engines in it. So right there, that just tells you that new ambulance is needed, and there's going to be more to come, whether I can go through the state and get them through the state, whether I have to come to city council to ask for them. The ladder truck, the ladder that we have is very good right now. It's giving us what we need, but there's more. There's more that we can do. And whether we keep this second ladder truck or go with the same plans of sending it to Milan, and both entities have a ladder truck, I mean, that's just, it benefits 2 different departments, the village and the city. So having newer things is what the citizens deserve.
So does that affect our ISO rating?
It will affect our ISO rating. It will assist Milan with their ISO rating. Overall,
So it's a plus all the way around?
absolutely, especially, I mean, if we get the new ladder truck, we are going to offer Milan the older ladder truck. We've done a lot of work to it. It's ready to do a couple more years, but maybe that'll give them a couple more years to possibly get a new one on their side. In every direction that we go, that Grants Fire goes, we want to try to help every community.
Well, on a side note, Chief, I'd like to have you on my radio show so you can put some of this good information out for the public, if that's okay, because it's, it's part of this, but I'll be getting a hold of you.
Okay,
That's
sounds
all I
good.
have. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Public safety, the teams out there, you guys, as Councilor Gutierrez said, you protect our village. So thank you very much. Best of the best.
Thank you.
I
And
appreciate
again, law enforcement, they are stretched thin right now. That's why they're not here. I just want you to reiterate, they're doing a great job up there taking care of what the other needs and the issues that they have. So
Just to add to that, if you don't mind, Mayor, we had the 2 police vehicles that were across the street from my house just before I came over here. I was kind of sad because all of you who know Star at the radio station, her husband passed away
yes,
today, and they were there to take him. Mont Taylor was there, and there was a couple of officers there, and it was a little bit sad because me and my wife went over there and talked to Star a little bit. So But we always thank either the fire department or the police department that is always there on the scene to provide service and help. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Thank you. Counselor Michael, please address me when you're done. Thank you. All right, we're on 1.9, discussion of ICIP 101 presentation. Mr. Howe, how are you, sir?
Alrighty. Good evening, Mayor, Council. My name is Brandon Howe, planner at the Northwest New Mexico Council of Governments, really here to kick off the city's ICIP process. We've kind of already done that internally, but we're here to provide a general 101 presentation and also kind of allow the public to start their thinking about potential projects, the council, department heads. Now's the time to modify that project listing moving forward for the fiscal year. So next slide, please. Really quickly, a presentation overview. We'll talk about what the ICIP is, why it's important, what should a ICIP project do, who should participate in the ICIP, and then actually developing the ICIP. Next slide, please. So the ICIP, really what it is it's a planning tool. So it's a 5-year fiscal year period. What we do is we work with staff, management, projects, and department heads to try to develop a 5-year infrastructure project list, prioritized based on impact, need, and importance. And so what we do is on an annual basis, we'll get together, review the previous year's list, get an update on status, funding to date, phasing, project completed, take it off, that type of stuff. And so we'll work through individually on each project just to get us a start. Again, last year's approach, we were asked to do a more public process, and so that's what we're doing now. Letting you guys know what the ICIP is step one, and then having that couple-week period where projects can be submitted to management, and we can vet those and consider those for possible inclusion. So again, it really is establishing priorities for anticipated projects for counties, municipalities, tribal governments, special districts, and senior citizen facilities. So next slide, please. So it's important to understand what the ICIP is not. It's really, it's not a wish list, right? It's a really vetted and prioritized list that we want to maintain, that it is viable to implement. Part of the reason why we say it's not a wish list is we don't want 100 projects on that list, right? We want to put together a list that we can feel confident in, implementing that first year projects, starting the second year projects, but also moving things on and off the list. So creating a manageable list is what we're after. The ICIP is not a funding application, so a lot of entities think that because I've done the ICIP, where's my money, right? It's a prerequisite to a lot of funding programs. So a lot of agencies, state programs, they utilize the ICIP as a vetting criteria when they're scoring applications. The ICIP is also pretty complex, so what you guys see when you guys look at the ICIP is really just the project summary. Each one of those project summaries has a 2 or 3 page project detail report. And so it's not just as simple as, you know, putting a street name down and putting $500,000 for the course of 5 years. It's much more in-depth than that. And so the complexity of the ICIP is also important because it does allow us to really think through a project, how we're going to implement it. But it also helps weed out projects, right? So if a project comes in and there's no real strategy, it hasn't been thought through, there hasn't been identified funding sources, there's no estimates, so we can really, you know, get a sense of, okay, this project's not ready to be on the list. Again, it's not a funding source. I want to say that again because it is often confused with capital outlay, which it is not. Next slide, please. Why the ICIP is important. Again, it really is establishing priorities. So we really take a close and hard look at that first year of projects. second and third and fourth years and fifth years are important to start bringing into the mindsets of the staff, but it's really that first year of projects that we're really targeting implementation for that fiscal year. And so we'll work closely with the management and the project team, finance team to put together strategies to implement these projects. Again, it's important to show critical need within these projects. There are a number of questions that address that, so we need to have those correct responses. Oftentimes, there are projects that, you know, we'll start to see that just really don't have that critical need, right? They're more of a wants type of deal, and so we're trying to really vet those to make sure that the projects on that list are needed projects. And so, but it also, again, it really encourages planning, phasing, and then identifying and implementing a plan of attack for each project. The ICIP is important because it does increase opportunities for funding. So as I mentioned before, a lot of state agencies look at the ICIP. You know, it's part of their eligibility criteria is that project on that entity's ICIP. If it's not, then A, we're not going to consider funding, or B, you just won't get as many points when it comes to scoring your application. So it's important to really think about a year in advance, what we intend to apply for a year in advance, so that we can get the most points that we can, and so that we remain eligible for funding when the time comes. The ICIP is often looked at by the governor's office when we're looking at governor's capital outlay. Obviously, she looks closely at all the ICIPs, and if the project is not on an ICIP, she has the authority to just veto a project. And so it's important that our ICIP lines up with our legislative strategy when it comes to the legislative session. Next slide, please. Again, as I mentioned, there's a lot of detail in a project, so that picture on the right-hand side is what a project, that's one project. So we're having to identify funding sources, funding to date, break this project out over multiple phases over the course of 5 years. We have, you know, right-of-way, planning, engineering, design, construction, furnishing equipment. We have all those different types of categories. There's 2 more pages after that, so there's a lot of information that needs to be gathered and incorporated into a single project. And so it's not a simple project listing. There's a lot of work involved into putting this together on an annual basis. But an ICIP project should create a new fixed asset or enhance an existing fixed asset. It should have a life expectancy of at least 10 years. It should have an accurate scope of work, good estimates. The project itself should be over $10,000. And again, it should identify funding sources that we're going to target to implement. Next slide, please. Who should participate? All local governments, right? Counties, municipalities, tribal governments, special districts, senior citizen facilities, all of which we have here in Cibola County, and all of which participate on an annual basis. Next slide, please. So the grants ICIP process for this year, you know, really the initial step was for the staff to attend an annual training on the ICIP so that they understand themselves how the ICIP works, but also how to modify and update the ICIP on an annual basis. And so management, projects team attend that, COG attends that as well. Really, that's the first notice of ICIP season is that training. We'll conduct an ICIP work session, which we have completed already a few weeks ago. Again, we just sat there for 2 hours, went through every single project, updated numbers, wrote it down. We haven't made modifications in the ICIP yet, but we talked about all the projects that were on the previous list. Now that we're presenting tonight, I'll go ahead and start working on the update based on some of the information that was provided during that work session. From now on until whenever the management team decides to take it to you guys for approval, there'll be the opportunity to pitch the ideas to management. So if you have a project idea, if the department heads have a project idea, if the community has a project idea, now's the time to relay that information over to the management team, and they'll consider it for possible inclusion. We did put together some project forms, so if department heads would like to add a project to the ICIP, there's a pretty detailed form. It asks questions about a lot of those project detail components, and there's also a more simplified form for the public. And so those are things that we're trying to implement now, just so that we can make sure that there is opportunity to add projects to the list. Again, I think it's important that we do reiterate that just because a project is submitted doesn't necessarily mean that it will be added to the list. We're going to do our best to vet those projects and make sure that they align with the overall strategy and goal of the city, and make sure that it is an implementable project moving forward. So sometime next month, we're going to probably present a final list to you guys for consideration of approval. At that point, we'll go ahead and package that and submit it to the state before July 12th. And so with that, I think there's one more slide, and that's all I have. So I can stand for any questions.
Councilor Rodarte?
Brandon, I was looking at your previous slide. It says before July 12th is when you submit it, right, to the state?
Yes.
Do you submit it to a specific department in the state, or, because I know you said the governor looks at it?
Yeah, so we submit it to the local government division at Department of Finance and Administration. And so they'll take a look at it if they have any corrections that need to be made, because there's a ton of information and there's always corrections that need to be made. They'll look at it, they'll ask us to correct it, we'll send it back, and then they'll finalize it for approval. So they publish on the DFA website once a year on public-facing side of their website all the ICIPs that were submitted. So they publish that in about November or December, and they only publish once. And so we try to get it right as close as possible to being accurate, to line up with the rest of the strategies moving forward. But we do have the opportunity to amend that ICIP throughout the year. It just won't be posted on that public-facing side of their site.
So the moment you submit it, State Representative Harry Garcia sees it? Because he's on the Appropriations Committee, right? Right, Harry?
Yes, sir.
Brandon, thank you for the presentation, and we look forward to seeing it. Thank you, sir.
Councilor Gutierrez?
No, very well presented. I kind of had, like, when I first started, thought it was like a wish list, but even knowing it more, kind of how you explained it, and then just that it's just priorities, and like Chris would say from Wilson, is as soon as you have everything wrapped up, bundles showing that you're ready, the more financially sound, the more ready you are, it's more likely to not be approved, but better chances. So
Yes, sir. It is important because we don't want, a pothole type of project on there, right? We want full reconstruction.
Agreed.
And so it's important to really vet those, and that's where management comes into play, is really making sure that, they are the gatekeepers of that list and making sure that projects are thought through. It's important that projects are thought through because we need to make sure that these projects are feasible and we can implement them. So,
absolutely,
yep.
and that's going again, the trust in our city manager and finance. Like I really truly know they have a feel of what the city needs and where they're going. So, and with your help, it always sounds better and it works.
Councilor Garcia?
No, thank you for that update, because when I first came into the council, a lot of these terms were not familiar to me, in departments, ICIP, COG, and what the heck does all this mean? How does it fit in? I have to say it's finally making sense to me. I know the first time I talked to Representative Garcia and, asked him, he said, well, is it on your ICIP? I'm like, OCKIP. I'm like, what are you talking about? And no, he explained it, you explained it, so I appreciate your updates, so it lets me know, like the counselor said, it's not a wish list, it's a plan that we have moving forward. And I like that now that I understand it better. Thank you.
Yeah, and it is, if anything, just keep in mind that it is a prerequisite for a lot of funding opportunities. And so that, at very least, is something that you guys should always keep in mind, that, hey, if it has money, if it needs money, we need it on our ICIP. Yep.
And talking with the manager, I know we were talking about that a lot of time we may want something, but the legislature's up, the legislative session in the governor's office, it's not what they're looking at this year. So it may not even get attention. Whereas if we all are on the same page, lobbying for the same thing, that we have a better chance of accomplishing that, even though it may not be my personal top.
Yes,
So that made a lot of sense to me.
The team at the city and the COG, we look at the ICIP throughout the year. We want to make sure that like you mentioned before, we're all on the same page, but we put together and formulate a strategy that is successful. And so we look at that ICIP all the time.
Thank you. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilor Michael?
On your presentation, you say under public engagement, May 29th, which is today, a public input session.
Yes. So essentially, we have public here, we have the project forums, but really today is really to kick that off, the opportunity, right? We wanted to conduct an internal review prior to really doing the one-on-one presentation and then opening it up to the public so that we have a chance to really look through the individual projects that are on there, make sure that we understand where each project is at, what funding has been secured to date, what projects are moving up and down and types of things. And so we haven't modified the list yet, but we've had that internal discussion. So at this time, the public could comment, they could submit a project form, department heads can start looking at their opportunities to get projects on the list.
Okay.
Councilor Michael, just to add to that, our goal in the city is to improve that timeline, to enter the department heads and the council and mayor sooner so that we can get that internally and present that to him when we do it internally. So our goal is to improve that timeline.
Okay. And with, say, let's talk about last year's ICIP. How many projects were on that? Do you know?
Off the top of my head, I don't know. I think we were in the 20s.
Yeah, 23 or 25.
How many got funded? Do you know?
The top 4 got funded.
The top
Yep.
4.
So the nice thing is,
That's what you're looking at.
yeah, all the orange barrels out there, that was on the ICIP, right? The arena project was on the ICIP. Roosevelt Bridge was at one point on the ICIP. Second Street Shared Loop lived on the ICIP. So it all starts with the ICIP at some point and whatever stage it is, whether it's preliminary, but we know it's a needed project, right? If it's just an idea, then our first stage is to get some planning work done. If it's got design, then we're moving right into construction. And so there are a lot of projects on the last year's ICIP that did get funded. Some of them did not get fully funded. Some of those were actually phased project listings, so that phase got done. The project still lives on, but we're phase 2 now. So you'll often see that projects are either whole or phased out. It really depends on the type of project that we're working on. So.
Okay. So would it be possible to look at like old ICIP lists and see what were on the projects, like maybe 22 and 23?
Yes, they should be recorded in the clerk's office because we bring this to council on an annual basis. So that approved ICIP should be recorded at the city.
Okay, thank you so much. Thanks for your presentation. It was very informative. That's all.
Thank you, Brandon. Thank you very much. With you guys as the team, the COG, probably one of the biggest things on the ICIP is the comprehensive plan, is where the east side development and the west side development starts, because that's where it's going to bring, hopefully, the real big economic push when stuff starts to get developed. So that one, I hope to see that in our near future, some orange barrels.
Yep.
So, but sooner, thank you for your help very much.
Right.
With that said, that's just a discussion. Thank you very much.
Thanks, sir.
All right, we're on 1.10, discussion action approval award of recommendation for Mick Rich Contractors for the airport hangar and terminal.
Okay,
Hello,
so,
Nadine.
good evening again, everybody.
Hello.
So, city went out for bid for hangar terminal expansion project on March 26, 2024. Due to no bids received, the above referenced project went out for rebid on April 25th. One bid was received and reviewed and was recommended by Armstrong for award. The recommendation by as per recommendation by Armstrong, we're asking for approval of award to Mick Rich Contractors in the amount of $2,105,000 $2,105,348.66, including NMGRT for construction of hangar and terminal expansion at the airport.
Thank you very much. This project is pretty neat because we have been working on this one with Economic Development and Representative Harry Garcia on this one for a few years now. We're finally breaking ground on this one, so
Yeah.
it's pretty cool. We're expanding our airport to be something bigger, so hopefully we can attract that next economic impact of something coming grants
Right.
by using our airport. So thank you very much. Comments from council, Councilor Ugarte?
So when would this start?
So once we get this approved, then it would be a matter of them getting the notice of award, and once the notice of award is in place, then they could get started. Well, yeah, we'd have our pre-con, and then they'd be ready to go.
Pretty soon?
Yep, within, they'd be within, I mean, depending on how quickly we could schedule, it could be within a month, that they would be up and running even less time.
Only other thing I have is I just want to say a great big thank you to Mr. Harry Garcia, because he was instrumental in getting us the funds for this project. Thank you, Harry. Thank you very much.
They secured $2.5 million was the original, and then we actually went out for another $100,000 in additional funding, and that was through the NMDOT Aviation Fund. And Mr. Garcia and Mr. Pedro Royal were both very instrumental, so thank you guys very much for that funding.
That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Gutierrez.
What was the last project that we were working on the airport? Was that like the connection?
We're in the process of working on the
That's what's going on
taxiway.
now?
Yeah, the taxiway connectors now, and then crack and seal as well on the,
Cool.
on the roadways.
Yeah, I'm excited personally for this. I mean, my dad, long time ago, was scared of heights and decided to become a pilot.
Oh.
I mean, whatever. But that's not my can of jerky. But I think it's something big for grants. You know, there's people who are flying between here and there, Gallup, Albuquerque, and kind of cross-continental. Like, it'd be a nice little stop. And, I mean, just flying over our mountains, you know, that's just one attraction again. And then to have more attraction, people flying, it's again, you build something and they're going to come. So it's huge. It's something big. And I think, again, going to economic development, this is something big we need. So,
Right.
and also I'd like to echo, you know, thank you again to our Representative Garcia. Just like, man, just every time we do something, it's like, man, this guy's invested. It's just keep him going.
Right,
So-
and it's imperative for our EMS helicopter. They fly in,
Absolutely.
and so it's important that they
They all
have
connect.
good facilities to be able to fly into, because they offer a very important service.
Yes,
as well,
ma'am.
so.
That's it.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Garcia?
No question.
Councilor Michael?
This was capital outlay or from?
The aviation funding.
Aviation fund, the 2 million.
2.5,
Yeah,
yes.
okay, great, thank you.
You're
No more
welcome.
questions?
Thank you, Nadine, very much. Thank you, Representative Garcia. Thank you, Eileen Yarbo from Economic Development. Mr. Garcia, come on up.
Thank you, Mayor. You know, there's more funding available.
Oh, give him the mic if he's saying that out loud.
Yes, sir. Anyway, there's more funding available for equipment, like, let's say, lawnmowers or a snow blower or whatever they need for that airport to keep it clean and keep it going. There is more funding there available, but we need to make sure that we spend that money. Because, you know, this money's been there for a couple of years now, and it was on the verge of going away. And now I'm glad she's working on it, you know, but other funding to come in, we need to make sure we spend that money. Because if not, you end up losing it. And that goes on any money, any state money, capital outlay, ICAP, whatever you get, if you don't spend it, you wind up losing it. But there is more money coming along for more improvement to that airport.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
And people need to understand, you know, people always criticize, why don't we fix the roads? You know, these monies are dedicated for a certain purpose, like the money for the rodeo ground, that was quality of life money. We cannot do roads or plumbing or anything with it other than what it's designed for. And, you know, I wanna make that clear, people understand that, you know, it is nice to put money on roads and that'll come, that's coming too. But these projects that are there now, existing, that's designated, the language on the bill is strict for that.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Nadine. Could I get a motion, please?
I'll make a motion for the approval of award recommendation for Mick Rich Contractors for airport hangar and terminal expansion.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Roll call. Counselor Garcia?
Yes.
Counselor Michael?
Yes.
Counselor Gutierrez?
Yes.
Counselor Redarte?
Yes.
Thank you, Nadine.
Thank you very much.
Alrighty, 1.1, 1.2, and 1.3, Mr., who's this? Have you seen her before? I think that's Kim. Is that Kim?
1 and 2.
Is that Kim? What's up, Kim? You're getting some new equipment, finally. Yay.
The right one.
Good evening,
Hello.
Councilor, or Mayor, Council, City Manager. I'm here to ask to purchase a Toro 5-deck rotary mower.
Okay. Comments? Cool. What does this mower do?
This one's for the rough.
The
So
rough.
we've been out of one for the last couple of years.
Mhm.
So we've been renting since 2019, and we're paying $23,500 for 6 months. So we talked to the guy, I got with Andrew, and we decided to purchase. I mean, it's a good price. A newer one's gonna cost you $85,000. So, I mean, it's much needed.
Thank you. Comments from council? Counselor Garcia?
Sounds like a good idea if we can own it instead of renting it. The only question I have is, so the cost of repairs and maintenance, we have somebody that can work on these?
We do. Standing right there, for our crew, plus our MOC.
Have the capability of working on that? Okay, great. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Counselor Michael?
Is this a budget, item in budget?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, no further questions?
Counselor Gutierrez?
It's funny because most of the complaints I get on the city are, can you guys please cut the grass at the golf course? And I get it from a lot of our west side neighbors where I'm at. And I know you guys have been hurting for equipment and stuff, and I was just thinking, I was like, just hold on, things are coming. But it's one of those necessary things, and I've heard a lot of compliments with you there, Kim. So, I mean, it's deserved and needed, so I'm glad we're able to bring this up.
Thank you. Counselor Redarte?
Kim, is this lawnmower comparable to the one that you've been renting?
It's the exact same one.
Same one, same
Yes,
thing, exactly?
We rented it last year, and we're just gonna purchase it. So it's well taken care of because me and my crew have made sure we keep it going, because we need them. Like he said, if we don't have them,
It's
the
a
grass
jungle.
gets long and it's rough catching up.
Okay, that's all I have. Thank you. Thank you,
very
Kim.
much. Thank you, Kim. Finally getting some new equipment. It's very exciting. Roll call, or can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion for approval of golf course Toro rotary mower purchase from LBI Rentals.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, Counselor Garcia?
Yes.
Counselor Michael?
Yes.
Counselor Gutierrez?
Yes.
Counselor Redarte?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, approval of golf course Jacobson Fairway unit purchase from LBI Rentals.
So again, we did rent this fairway unit. It's a Jacobson 7 rails. We have several different cuts. This is one of them. We've rented them since 2019. Newer's better. This is the one we've had last year, so we know how it works, and it's in good shape. So I am asking to purchase this Jacobson 7 reel for $31,500.
Thank you. Comments from council? Counselor Michael?
What would it be, brand new?
These ones are pretty pricey because it's a specialty one, so it's close to $100,000.
Okay. Thank you. No more questions?
Okay. Counselor Gutierrez?
No comment.
Counselor Redarte?
No questions.
Thank you. Counselor Garcia?
So these are, you mentioned it, I think specialty. It's not like we could use them at the baseball field or vice versa.
Right.
We got to save this for this,
It's
right?
down to cut to half an inch, to an inch. That's the point of the reels.
Right, so if we want a quality golf course, we need these.
Yes, you need the
Okay.
specialty mowers.
Okay, thank you, that's all I have.
Thank you. If I could get a motion, please.
I'll make a motion for the approval of golf course Jacobson Fairway unit purchase from LBI Rentals.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Counselor Garcia?
Yes.
Counselor Michael?
Yes.
Counselor Gutierrez?
Yes.
Counselor Ugarte?
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you, Kim.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
here again, is that you? Who's the deer? Is that George?
Jorge, what's up?
Cool, okay, there's deer everywhere. Hello, George.
Good evening. Good evening, council and mayor. First and foremost, I'm requesting for approval from council to purchase a John Deere Z99 7R diesel lawnmower. It's got the bagger attachment on it to pick up the clippings. The amount is $30,293.87. It will go to the Parks Department. They're in desperate need of another lawnmower. They are on state contract, and it is in the parks budget.
Right on. Comments from council. Counselor Garcia?
When you look at purchasing, I know you said they're on state contract, but do you look at the availability of parts? Because sometimes if they're proprietary, we got to buy their parts or we can't get them and it makes it more difficult.
No,
Does that factor in or it's?
They're pretty good with the parts.
John Deere is?
Yeah, we've had really good luck with their machines. That's all we have, is John Deere.
And I know this is a time of year we're replacing all our old fleet and everything.
Yes.
I got a question, maybe it's for the city manager. So all this old equipment, I don't know if we have an old lawnmower or whatever, but what happens to that? We're not just keeping that, are we?
It's actually in the back of MLC. Mr. Mendez has helped us collect it all from the golf course and throughout the other agencies, and we go to auction it off we're gonna have an auction this year.
Oh, okay, good, because are those counted as our assets when we're talking audit and all? So if we keep that stuff, we got to count it.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
Counselor Michael?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Counselor Gutierrez?
No questions.
Thank you. Counselor Ugarte?
Very much needed, right, Jorge?
Yes, yeah. Well, we purchased 2 last year, and this will be the 3rd one, and we'll be on track.
Well, I was thinking, is that going to satisfy your fire needs, or do you need another one?
I don't know.
You can use another one. Because I know you guys
We
you
do
guys put
need
those
a-
to work out there.
We do need another, it's not a lawnmower, it's like a vacuum type deal. It's got little rubber fingers on it, picks up the clippings and leaves.
Okay, all right. Thank you, sir. Thank you, that's all I have.
Thank you, George. The grass looks pretty green around everywhere. I mean, good job.
Not too bad, huh?
Yeah. Looks good. Looks very good. So thank you very much. Comments, can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion for the approval of a John Deere Z997R diesel riding lawnmower purchase for the amount of $30,293.87.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Roll call. Counselor Garcia?
Yes.
Counselor Michael?
Yes.
Counselor Gutierrez?
Yes.
Counselor Ugarte?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jorge.
Thank you, George. Page 2. All right, discussion action approval Peterbilt Model 589 Loader King GN trailer purchase.
Okay, I'm requesting approval from the council to purchase a 2024 Peterbilt Model 589 in the amount of $226,417.68, and a Load King trailer in the amount of $144,750.55. This will be replacing our old lowboy and truck Freightliner that we have at the MOC. It's not roadworthy at all, neither one of them. We can't get our broken down equipment to Albuquerque to get it fixed, to get it looked at, nothing. They can't even, the current truck that they have has up like 40-foot hydraulic hoses on it. They gotta take it off the truck, leave the hoses hooked up, then drop the front of the trailer, then to unload like the paver, the rollers, all that stuff. It's just, it's dangerous. It is very dangerous, and it's not roadworthy. Neither one of them. It's an old military. You've probably seen it. It's an old army truck.
Alrighty.
It'd make their life a lot easier.
Comments from council. Council Michael.
It's pretty nice looking.
It is very nice.
Mhm.
It is very nice.
I have no questions. Other questions or comments?
Thank you. Councilor Gutierrez.
I have no questions.
Thank you. Councilor Ugarte.
And this piece of equipment is very, very much needed, right?
Yes.
Because I know it's for transporting heavy equipment on.
It's for transporting. If we gotta take a backhoe to Albuquerque to Century Equipment, we can't get it to them because it's not roadworthy.
So right now, you can't do that, right?
No.
Good.
We have 3 backhoes down right now that need to go that way.
Very
And then
much
the-
needed.
The paving machine, you can't just get in it and drive it down the road. You gotta haul it. So same thing with a rollers and all that stuff.
Thank you, sir. That's all I have.
Yeah. Councilor Garcia.
No question.
Thank you. Thank you, George. Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion for the approval of a Peterbilt Model 589 and Load King GN trailer purchase.
Thank you. Second.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call. Councilor Gutierrez.
Yes.
Councilor Ugarte.
Yes.
Councilor Michael.
Yes.
Councilor Garcia.
Yes.
Thank you. George, appreciate you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Okay, we're on 1.5, discussion action approval Mount Taylor water line extension change order number 3. Hello Nadine again.
Good evening again. So this will be our final working change order for the Mount Taylor waterline extension. Additional work, additional funding and work includes in materials extension pipe for 7 of the fire hydrants that are being installed. NMDOT is requiring that we grout fill and abandon the line that is the existing line. So that is 2,680 linear feet of the old existing line needs to be grouted. They don't want it abandoned and left because they're afraid of collapses later on. We also need mechanical joints for diversion of the line around existing manholes. Repair to damaged water lines on Teresa Street and Michael Street. And then casing around main sewer force main, and then an additional 10-inch gate valve. So all of these, the total for all of these, the cost is $236,594.11, excluding an MGRT. So at this time, we're asking for approval of change order number 3 for file construction for additional work and materials in the amount of $236,594.11, excluding an MGRT. Again, this is the 5 million water that we need to spend out, so.
Yep, thank you very much. What's this project come up to now, total? Guessing, I mean, not guessing, but 2.5?
We are at, let me tell you now. So we are at 2.213.
2.213. This is one of those projects that was pretty well needed for years and years and years. And to get to this today of using, we probably, it'd be hard to find, right? Because they've been having problems with that. So getting that $5 million from our legislators has been tremendous help. And we're going to fix that and then wait till next year. So a lot more good things coming. So the residents of Mount Taylor Addition, they're going to have some relief of, you know,
Right.
some of these breakages. So it's well needed and it's money well spent. So thank you to our legislators and you guys for getting this project ongoing, because I mean it's needed.
And it's already showing effects because they did have a shut-off today, but it wasn't the entire, right. Only the lower half was affected by the shut-off. So that it is, they are starting to already see the effects of it, the benefits of it, so.
Good deal. Comments from Councilor. Councilor Michael.
No comments, thank you.
Councilor Garcia.
Will this complete the Mount Taylor project?
So this will complete the work side of the Mount Taylor project as far as the supplies and that part of it, yes.
That's all I have.
Thank you. Okay, Councilor Gutierrez. So, but all the hydrants, that's already installed too?
They're being installed as,
Yeah?
yeah.
Okay, cool, sorry.
Oh, that's fine. No comment. I guess, yeah, never mind.
Thank you.
thinking.
Ugarte.
Have you heard any comments from the residents there?
I haven't. There's a couple of residents that have kind of reached out. When this last shut-off came out, I did get a text, and they asked, is it going to affect the entire community? And I said, no, actually, it's not, because of the valves that are in place already, and they were very relieved. They were glad that it was happening. I've had a lot of comments, residents who have said, it's a necessary inconvenience, because they're looking forward to what they're going to get from it, and they're excited about the fact that it's going to change their water pressures. It's going to, the shutoffs aren't going to be as
Well, just like
invasive.
the rest of the city, I know the public has been very patient with us because we've been doing a lot of projects.
Right.
And it's good to see. It's good to see that this system out there, Mount Taylor Edition, was long overdue.
It
Long
was.
overdue.
Yeah.
That's all I have. Thank you. Thank you, Nadine.
Thank you, Nadine. Can I get a motion, please?
I'll make a motion for approval of Mount Taylor Waterline Extension Change Order Number 3.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Roll call, Counselor Garcia.
Yes.
Counselor Michael.
Yes.
Counselor Gutierrez.
Yes.
Counselor Ugarte.
Yes.
Thank you. That passes. Thank you, Nadine.
Thank you.
Okay, discussion action approval of transmission water line replaced in DNSF Road, Almoro Road, TLC. Hi Nadine, I thought that was you again.
I don't know. I was looking at Y Bank. Okay, so during the bore to add the water line on Almoro Road with this USDA project here on Santa Fe Avenue, there was a water line that the depth was not correctly marked, so the water line was hit. Luckily, that water line is not active because that's the water line that feeds into the tank that is being rehabbed at this point. In order, this line is in BNSF right-of-way. BNSF are very strict about who they allow in their right-of-way. And as at this point, the city crew does not have the training certification that is required. TLC has that certification, and because they are working on that, it was crucial that we got that water line fixed while while TLC was there with, we had to have flaggers as well as surveyors in place. So with them being there, TLC was able to go in and fix the water line, get that water line repaired, because it was crucial to get it done then. If not, it would have taken quite a while to get the certifications in place and the city crew out there. So the BNSF, so at this point, TLC has already been permitted, and they were already in place. So at this point, we're asking for approval for the work that TLC has completed for the repair in the amount of $34,230.87, including NMGRT for the repair of that water line.
Thank you very much. We were allowed to use that 5 million for this?
Yep.
Nice.
That's why it was crucial that we had the timeline that I spoke to each one of you and have that crew that was already there online, because if we would have waited, we wouldn't have been able to use the 5 million.
Right, so that 5 million is part of this as well.
Thank you. Money well spent. We can have to use ours. Comments from council, Counselor Garcia.
So how did that turn out?
So it's done. Almoro is open again.
So there was no major issues on
No.
the repair?
It was a pretty smooth repair, thank goodness.
It's not being used yet because of the
Right.
tank, but it has been tested, so.
So it's good. Okay, great. That's all I have.
Thank you. Counselor Michael.
I have no questions, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Counselor Ugarte.
Nadine, included in that project was kind of a redirection of the line, correct?
So that's still part of, yeah.
Because it won't be on the railroads right away anymore, right?
So they bored underneath, well, that line,
that
that
part is-
particular line will still, that line
But the
didn't.
breakage, the one that was broken.
So it was,
This allowed us to
45.
keep it in that right of way.
Right.
If we would have changed it from the right of way, then we would have had a timeline, so this allowed us to keep it in that right of way that they have, yes.
Okay, all right.
We had additionally talked about moving it out of the right of way.
Yes.
But because of this timeline and having the crews on site, we had to keep it in that right of way.
Okay.
So the line, it's existing line, it hasn't moved.
So it's going to be utilized once the tank is
Right.
ready to go?
Once the tank is done, that line will be back in
Okay,
service.
that's all I have. Thank you.
Councilor Gutierrez?
Yeah, he was unfortunately lucky. I mean, and I appreciated the city manager's explanation of, the mechanics of it all, because just saying what you're saying there, anyone else has been like, I don't get why we couldn't proceed with it, but your explanation of BNSF and their right of way and stuff, so I get the
Right.
picture of it and how necessary these kind of things were and how lucky you were that we escaped with that kind of minimal damage and repair costs, so.
Right.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you very much. With that said, can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion for the approval of transmission water line replacement in BNSF Pro Elmore Road TLC.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Roll call. Councilor Garcia?
Yes.
Councilor Michael?
Yes.
Councilor Gutierrez?
Yes.
Councilor Redarte?
Yes.
That'll pass. Thank you. Thank you, Nadine.
Mr. Mayor, before we move on, may we take a 5-minute recess?
Yes, ma'am. If I get a motion to take,
Motion for a 5-minute recess to reconvene at 8 o'clock?
thank you. Second?
Second?
Thank you. Roll call. Councilor Garcia?
Yes.
Councilor Michael?
Yes.
Councilor Gutierrez?
Sure.
Councilor Redarte?
Yes.
All right, we'll be right back. So 1.17, discussion action approval of 4th of July firework display. I guess we had a little display after the graduation the other night, and it was pretty cool. I mean, it was pretty neat to see back, we used to have that when I was a kid. I don't know how long it's been at the golf course, but it was pretty neat to see. So I see big things for us, and thank you very much for being here. And go ahead and state your name, sir.
Tony Madrid.
Yep.
All right, but I'm requesting an increase to $30,000 for the Grants fireworks display for 2024. We were in talks of moving the fireworks display from the golf course up to the hill. We gathered and ironed out the details with the city manager, the fire chief, and the police chief. I requested and offered to do a test shot, but instead I coordinated and donated a 10-minute display to the city of Grants in celebration for the graduating class of 2024. I donated this small show specifically to get the community's approval of moving the display. We had family, friends, fire, police officers posted out in various parts of the city, including in the sky via drone. Shout out to Matt Fletcher. After review, we received overwhelming community support for moving the display back up to the hill. The document you should have represents the projected fireworks display and supplies specifically for the golf course. Since we are today only 36 days away from the 4th of July, the requested increase will go towards expediting the process of acquiring, securing, stabilizing, ensuring, and shooting a safe fireworks display at a new display site, specifically on such short notice. My goal with this display is always to continue expanding in size and quality, because I fell in love with fireworks right here in the city of Grants, watching the fireworks up on the hill. We already coordinated with the fire chief and the police chief about the road closures for the display and the directional traffic flow, which will be a significant increase to the city compared to the golf course. Also staying with that, we will have, the fire chief said he would have an extra fire crew in from Montana to assist with the fire suppression should anything happen. And as stated before, the fire chief talked about how he wanted to be involved more in the community, and eventually this is what the community asked for. They wanted the fireworks back up on the hill. So I just want to say specifically thank you to the city manager, the fire chief, and the police chief for their professionalism and dedication towards the community.
Thank you, Mr. Madrid. Comments from the council? Councilor Michael?
So, okay, because the proposal we had was stating it would be at the golf course, but it's switching now to,
That's exactly why, and we are open for discussion there. And that's why we already did a very small fireworks display up on the hill so that you can see what it was like and and we had all the people, and I believe we had overwhelmingly support that people wanted it up there.
With your approval, Madam, we would enter in a contract based on what you would approve, what you all would approve, and it would, this is just a preliminary estimate on fireworks.
during the 4th of July, there's other activities at the golf course, isn't there?
There's not this year.
There's not this year. Okay, makes sense then. Thank you, that's it.
Councilor Garcia.
No question. Looks good.
Mr. Rodarte?
I did receive some feedback when people heard about this change, and some people are accepting it, others don't like it very well at all, because they were used to sitting on the grass at the golf course and with the families and enjoying it. And so if we do make the change, they're just going to have to get used to it, because we used to have it there years ago, right? Right, Andrew? It used to be up there for years, right?
Yes. I started in the fire department in 1990, and we used to light the fireworks there at the high school, and then we lit them on the hill before they took our excitement away and they had to go to a professional pyrotechnic. But yes, it's been there, and I think it has been at the golf course the last, I'm gonna say 6 to 8 years.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I know one of the problems that was out there was traffic congestion.
It's a traffic nightmare for our police and fire, and
Especially if it's something were to happen, on the way out to get to the hospital is significant.
yeah, so I think this would, it was my initiative to take it back to where it was at originally, and, but I wanted to get the professional out there, the fire chief, police chief, so that they could get an evaluation in the area, and that's when we came up with the idea to do the test shot and go from there, and I think it was a success, so I'm looking for a success in this 4th of July.
So is the vantage points for watching it this year, it pretty much can be visible throughout the city, right?
Anywhere in the
Correct?
city.
Anywhere, right?
That's the plan.
So people can watch it in the comfort of their own home? So I guess, I know people get used to doing a certain way, and then it's difficult to accept a new way, so.
4th of July for me is, and my family, we were growing up, it was a big deal here in Grants, and I think that, moving forward, it's not an avenue that we can't explore, having multi-shows, one for the ground for the people that are at the golf course and have an event there, and one later on in the evening or, shortly after on the hill. It's not impossible, so it's just something we need to get back to the community and have the community enjoy the 4th of July like I did when I was a kid. It was great.
You're still a kid.
Well, I know that, the public is very hungry for events to come to grants and things like, and this is a great thing. We're looking at what, $24,000? $30,000?
His additional cost.
How long will that take? About an hour?
That's pretty significant because the amount of product that I put up compared to a conventional fireworks display. Conventional fireworks displays are 2-3 things at a time. It gets monotonous and boring. That's where my creativity, that's where I fell in love with this, is because I get to be creative and be able to express myself, not just for fireworks, but be able to be a part of the community. Not to mention, like, this is where I met my wife, was at the 4th of July fireworks show in Grants.
One more question, sir. One individual commented to me, if it's up on the hill, are we going to have rockets hitting people's houses?
We already talked about the specifics in the size of diameter of the shells and the fallout zone, so any place that it would be hot trash, which there's a pretty significant size out there on that actual hill right there. But everything else, I'm mostly worried about the things that are right next to me, starting on fire. But like fire crews, they're already there. They're expected to be on site, which we haven't always had. They're close in the distance, but we have them right there with paramedics, with fire units. But like the fire chief also said before, he will also have the additional crew in from Montana assisting throughout the whole event.
There's at least an additional 20 firefighters, wildland firefighters that are on the hill and around the area.
Okay.
They'll be on the ground.
That's good to hear.
And not to mention that if anything does happen at the display, it's taken care of there. But if anything doesn't happen, that gives the fire department that's with me the opportunity to be in the community for the 4th of July. Instead of being stuck at the traffic and the
Yeah,
vehicles.
I was aware of that. Well, thank you very much, sir. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you. Councilor Gutierrez?
Sounds exciting. I know fireworks are always controversial. It's, one side of the road or not, but again, you said you donated for the graduation.
The whole display was free to the city.
That was awesome, thanks. And I mean, that's how you sell your product. You know what I mean? But thanks again. And again, professionals are always better than us wannabe pyros.
Appreciate it.
So thanks.
Thank you very much. I believe you're going to see an influx of people coming into our town. People are already hearing like, hey, we're going to have a pretty huge fireworks show like they used to have, I guess, at the casinos at one time.
They used to have them at the casinos, but they haven't had it in a few
but
years.
everybody's going to start flocking here.
Same with Gallup.
What
Same
you
with
see
Gallup
with
last
your-
year, they didn't have a display, and we were the only display between Albuquerque and Farmington. So anybody in all those places was able to come to Grants and spend their money here and enjoy their time here.
Yeah, I think it's pretty neat. I mean, it's new. I mean, it's not new, but it's reiterated. I think it's very cool. Thank you for working with our city manager, Andrew. And Andrew, thank you very much. Hall of Famer firefighter. I mean, he says it's all good. I have total trust in you, buddy, that you have your crews in place and safety is number one.
And that's part of why.
Excitement is number two.
That's part of why we did that, is to make sure that everything should be fine. of course, anything can happen, but we want to take the proactive measures to make sure that it doesn't happen. That's my job, is to be able to play with the fire, have fun, and do what I love, but also do it safely and not endanger the community.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. With that
Thank
said,
you,
can I get a
Tony.
motion? Thank you.
I'll make a motion for the approval of Fourth of July fireworks display. Is that's for 30,000, right? For $30,000?
That's your choice.
Huh?
That's your choice if you want to say that number.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'm saying $30,000 in.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Roll call, Counselor Garcia?
Yes.
Counselor Michael?
Yes.
Counselor Gutierrez?
Yes.
Counselor Rodarte?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Madrid.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Andrew. I think it's going to be pretty cool. All right, we're on 1.18, discussion action approval, well number 3, WYE Bank CDEC. CDEC. Isn't that a-
CDs.
isn't that what it is?
CDC.
CDC.
Okay, sorry. Again, good evening, everyone. So I'm here tonight for approval of well number 3, Y Bank, CDEC. With the completion of well number 3, it was found that after some issues and surges, that the well house and pump, that the 3-phase transformers from the CDEC is not adequate for that well. The CDEC did some recording after electrical issues caused by surges, by the surge protector and a slow start from, that caused a slow start to fail last year. CDEC sent the report over to the city, and the city in turn submitted the reports to Smith Engineering and Darcor to evaluate. And they found that there is a power surge when the motor is starting up. It's determined by Darcor that a Y bank is in the best interest to be installed and take out the 3-phase transformers. For basically what a Y bank, it's just a larger transformer versus the smaller ones that are up. It'll be one of like the big green. So what we're looking to do is replace that, and I kind of spoke to Jorge a little bit about it to get some clarification, and basically he said it just gives a true
Gives a true wattage. There's no spikes in the watts that's going to the motor. So the motor has a soft start, and when it starts up, it does draw a lot of voltage. And if it doesn't get that voltage, it can fry the motor. And that's what happened the last round.
But that was never looked at? I mean, it wasn't engineered that we had, your amps are dropping, obviously you're going to hurt your motors.
Well, it was, but that's the report, the initial report they gave us.
After we fried the
Is
motor.
that what it was? Yeah. They gave us an initial report a year ago, and that's when this Darcor and the Good Water, the 5 million.
Dark what?
We used this 5 million to replace this.
Oh, we're using this 5 million. Okay, so it's nick of time. How much is this?
I'm sorry. So the cost is $31,766.59.
Oh, nice. So you got to use that money. Good job. All right.
Creative individuals.
Oh, man. Thank you.
So I'm asking approval for CDC to upgrade the Y bank at well number 3 in the amount of $31,766.59.
Awesome. Comments from council? Councilor Garcia?
So right now, we're operating, and that pump could go down any moment
If it went down, we're in a world of problems.
because of what, it'll be water shortage is down. Okay, so
Our grass
this
will
is,
die.
Yeah.
well, like you said, good timing, I guess, if there's anything. But, no, sir, that's all I have.
Thank you. Councilor Michael?
Is the pump new?
The pump is a rebuilt pump. We have a brand-new motor on the ground at the shop.
'Cause I
So
thought
we
we had
purchased
approved that.
we purchased another motor, brand new. Then they brought us back the one that they had replaced, and we paid for the repairs on that motor, so that's what's currently running right now. But we do have a backup motor.
Backup motor, okay. That's what I thought we had approved that. So, okay, this is again for Continental Divide to
Yes.
put in the proper power.
Yes.
So it won't be surging and shutting down.
And typically when we get those surges is in the monsoon time.
Around
That's
this time of
why-
year.
Yeah, we're trying to do it before the monsoon hits.
'Cause I think we had a trouble with it last year.
It fried the motor
And
one
it-
time, and then it fried the
and we were having to use San Jose for a while and get clearance on all that, but it thinks you guys got it back online right away, so. Okay, thank you, I have nothing else.
Thank you. Councilor Duarte.
Assuming that we pass this, how soon will CDEC fix it? Will they get on it right away?
There's a lead time of 6 to 8 weeks on
Yeah.
on the white ink.
Right.
6 to 8 weeks, it could, but we're ahead of the game because
Well, before monsoon season, which is a good plus, but it's a good thing to just get it done and get it over with. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Councilor Gutierrez.
No comment.
Thank you. Thank you very much. With that said, can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion for the approval of well number 3, Y Bank CDEC, and what was the amount? $31,766.59.
Second.
Thank you. Second. Thank you. Roll call. Councilor Garcia.
Yes.
Councilor Michael.
Yes.
Councilor Gutierrez.
Yes.
Councilor Duarte.
Yes.
Thank you. That'll pass. Thank you very much for fixing that.
Thank you all. Good night.
All right, we're on 1.19, discussion action approval grants police department purchase of 4 flock cameras. Andrew, you taking this one?
yes, before you have a proposal for purchasing flock cameras. The 2 cameras will be location of, let me get it here, 3 locations, I'm sorry. One would be on Santa Fe Avenue at the Fire and Ice Park. Another one would be at the park across from the Mission, or the, I don't know, like, 4th and Santa Fe Avenue.
That is the mission, no? That park right there?
Across
That's
from the
Fifth.
Mission, yeah. And then the last one would be at the golf course. That's still kind of up for debate whether the golf course or Future Foundations needs it. We're kind of deciding where we want to put that in between. But basically, it would be in the amount of, let me see what she has. These ones are, so,
I didn't see a dollar amount.
24,800?
yes.
Where'd you see it?
It's on page 126.
24,800, initial price, and then a yearly, cost of 11,200. It's on,
On this
I
page right
found the
here.
memo. Here it
Yeah.
is.
it has, the Grants PD logo on it. Any questions?
Comments from councilors, Councilor Duarte?
4 of them, right? That's what we're looking at, 4. And one's on Santa Fe, you said, and one's at, that's over here, but where the mission is, that's where
Yeah.
that little park is that we have in there?
And then the metal, sculpture there in that area.
Okay.
We've been having some areas, some problems there. And the other one's at the amphitheater, I'm sorry, that was the last.
Okay,
These can be
amphitheater.
moved anytime you want.
Oh,
And you can relocate if you decide you need a better location or something like that. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Michael?
Yeah, because the golf course one seemed at an odd location,
Yeah,
and
we've had more troubles at the Futures than we have at the
Yeah.
golf course, so, the reconsideration for the golf course one would be Futures.
okay, and these cameras span,
Yes, they do.
so they move and they capture, because of the picture, I thought that's not a very large capture area.
Yeah.
But we're gonna see them then at, Fire and Ice Park, at the Riverwalk Park, and perhaps at the golf course. There was a 4th one?
There's 2 at the,
Oh,
the
I
4th
see
one
it.
is the amphitheater.
Yes.
And then the ones that I'll finish the ones on
Okay.
DPD first. We'll go with those.
Yeah, that amphitheater's
I remember when it was first built, had the beautiful rails. They were just vandalized and torn up and damaged right away. It was awful. It was so pretty. I have nothing else, thank you.
Councilor Gutierrez?
Where's the furthest east we have a flock camera right now of our originals?
That's the,
LT, Glendo?
Oh, he might have.
license plate. There he is. I didn't even know you were here.
I didn't even see you guys.
He was eating
Yeah.
cake.
Council?
Give me a piece.
As far as the flock cameras that we have the furthest east,
Yes.
you're gonna have it right coming into Grants.
All right. 'Cause
Right on Santa Fe Avenue, coming into Grants on the east end of town.
All right, because I was just thinking like how you have it there, like, you know, the old road, as soon as you get off on the I-117 at Stuckey's and then driving in, like, it kind of bypasses Santa Fe, was I was
I
thinking.
think the flock cameras that you're thinking.
The license plate.
Oh, so you're thinking about, yeah, the ones you're referring to is gonna be our license plate readers, which are.
Oh, I
the
thought those
LPRs.
are our flock cameras as well.
Those are through flock
Oh,
safety.
it's just, okay.
Yeah, it's a different.
Okay. No, I was just thinking out loud. No, I have no other questions.
Councilor Garcia?
So I know the next item on the agenda is 3 additional flock cameras. Are these all going to be tied together? I know we're just balancing resources,
Yes.
purchasing with,
And Lieutenant could probably add to it more, but these would be monitored at the PD. So that you would have a screen that would be able to monitor them there, say they were there doing reports or whatever. They could actually, and then they also alert their CAD and their phone, correct?
Email and work cell phone, yes. So anything that we have as far as any type of hits that come through our license plate readers, at the time it comes in through what's through the National Crime Information Center, which is NCIC. It alerts us, right now it's just command staff and first line supervisors or sergeants. We'll get an email or a text alert, which is within a couple minutes of the time that it passed, and we'll be able to go look for that vehicle and everything on there. These other flock cameras, the PTZs that will be at the park, they will integrate with the rest of the system, and it's all in the same software. So like, let's say, for instance, we get a vehicle that's entered as stolen at, coming in our camera off the interstate, right? And it comes towards one of our parks, and our cameras these cameras pick it up, it'll alert us that it's in that area at that time, and we could be able to track it based off of that if it hits it.
and the technology, I was reading about it, it's not just license plate readers, but it could read a vehicle if they don't have a license plate.
Yeah, so let's say, for instance, we had some sort of crime that was a hit and run. There was no license plate on the vehicle that was noticeable, anything on that. We could go on to the side tab, and we could search by make, model. Let's say there's descriptors, there's a bike rack or a luggage rack up on top, or if there's a sticker on the back of the vehicle, we could break down the search by that. We've actually been able, on some instances, be able to track down bicycles on there at night, just through a search on there. And it's a matter of just going through and going on there. And like I said, these continuously scan, and they don't, you know what I mean? I think the data for the PTZs is 7 days?
Yeah.
And then it'll purge.
Okay, I was going to ask, so I know we all drive our vehicles in public, so there's no danger of civil rights
So no, there's no,
violations?
so in the state of New Mexico with the license plate, I did relay this to Channel 4 and 7 when I was at Milan, because I was on the news for these cameras. And the good thing about these cameras is, they don't care what color your car is, they don't care what make or model they are, they don't care what country they come from, right? All that matters is that license plate that's on the back of the vehicle. On the license plate in a vehicle, there's no expectation of privacy. The only ones that can access that information is law enforcement, being able to run the plate and gather that data. So what it does is continuously scanning license plates. And anytime it has a hit on the National Crime Information Center, NCIC, a runaway, silver alerts, anything tied to that license plate or that vehicle, sex offenders, it'll give us that alert. It doesn't matter anything else on that. ACLU had questioned it, but there's nothing that warrants anything under that. Civil rights aren't being violated at that time.
Great. No further questions.
Thank you. All righty. Can I get a motion, please?
I'll make a motion for the approval of Grants Police Department purchase of 4 flock cameras in the amount of, let me go back,
800,
800 and, hold on, I was just there.
11,200 annually.
Oh, you're getting me home. Yeah, what he said. I was just right there and I went to the other flocks. $24,800.
Second.
I'll second.
Thank you. Roll call. Counselor Garcia?
Yes.
Counselor Michael?
Yes.
Counselor Gutierrez?
Yes.
Counselor Redarte?
Yes.
Thank you very much, LT. Thank you.
Councilman.
Discussion action approval of Parks Department purchase of 3 flock cameras.
This is another one.
Yeah, this is yours, right?
This is it's just identical.
So it's pretty much the same. Council, if you have any more questions, Counselor Michael?
These are additional cameras, the budgeted ones for the PD, and then this one's budgeted one out of the general budget.
Gotcha. So, they're flock cameras. These are, I guess I understood them to be like security cameras. Like if there's any kinds of incidents where these cameras are placed, that law enforcement gets alerts. But you're telling me, again, it's only vehicle and license plate related?
No, so we're going back. Flock Safety is a big company that runs, the ones that we kind of brought up are the LPRs. These ones are
Yes.
actually continuously recording cameras. Yes, basically like a surveillance camera. They have the 360 view.
That's what I wanted to
And
know.
so that way, we will be able to monitor situations like, he was just showing the one at the amphitheater. Let's say, for instance, we had any type of incident at the amphitheater. We would be able to get onto our computer and move it around and see what's actually going on at that time. Let's say a crime did happen at that time. We gather that video and now we have evidence to be able to prove that crime and go from there. And it'll help us to locate suspects or even victims of any types of crime that do happen on there. Or is it a bogus call? Are we getting one of those calls where, oh, this is going on at the park because they're trying to divert us away from there? We will actually have that tool to go from there. APD uses different types of systems because they have their real-time crime center where they're actually able to tap into cameras and see what's going on at that time to be able to dispatch their officers into hotspots.
Okay. So on this one, what is the cost for the additional 3?
$20,250.
Okay. And they all have that around 11,000 year maintenance?
Yearly cost, yes.
Yearly maintenance.
That doesn't change.
Okay.
Based on the amount.
And these 3 are going to be placed at the amphitheater, Elm Park, and was there a 4th location?
At the,
Third.
I call it the Fifth Street Park,
Okay.
left of the amphitheater, where the fishing
Mhm.
area is at.
Okay. Thank you. I have no other questions.
Thank you. Counselor Michael? Garcia?
You said Elm Park was one of the ones?
Yes.
Okay, good, 'cause that's I know a hot spot out there. That's all I have.
Thank you. Counselor Gutierrez?
No further questions.
Thank you. Counselor Redarte?
No questions.
Thank you. That's it. Can I get a motion? Thank you, Mr. Galindo.
I'll make a motion for the approval of Parks Department purchase of 3 flock cameras.
Thank you. Second?
Second?
Roll call. Counselor Garcia?
Yes.
Counselor Michael?
Yes.
Counselor Gutierrez?
Yes.
Counselor Redarte?
Yes.
Thank you very much. It's a great addition. All right, we're on 1.21, discussion action approval ordinance number 23-1280, Senior Citizen Center Advisory Board. This is Fran? No? Yes?
I can explain it if you want me to.
It's,
Not here?
who?
No.
No.
Or Ray?
Mr. Clemens was here. No?
He was here? Okay.
No.
Well, I can go ahead and explain this ordinance. So originally, the Senior Citizens Board had asked to amend their bylaws. Whenever I looked into it, they did not have bylaws. So they came up with this ordinance so that they could be a legitimate board. And that's basically what it is.
Thank you very much. Comments from council? Counselor Gutierrez?
No questions.
Counselor Redarte?
So this is basically establishing an advisory board, right, at the senior
Yes,
center?
sir. They never were established through an ordinance. So we're just establishing that board legitimately through this ordinance.
This is kind of like the other boards that we have in the city, right?
Yes.
Now they're just legit.
Yeah, so this just makes it that there is one now instead of not. That's all I
Yes,
have.
and we still have the 10 members. They had wanted to reduce it, But with our joint powers agreements that we had standing, it would have been too difficult to rearrange that, so we just left it at the 10 members.
Thank you.
Councilor Michael.
You mentioned a joint powers agreement?
Yes.
Because I'm noticing on here that you get 2 members appointed by Village of Malone
Mhm.
and 3 by the county. What is, can you explain briefly just what the joint powers agreement consists of? Is it, or do they help us
It's
fund?
part, yeah, it's their funding. It's
So
tied
they
to their
provide some
funding.
funding for it, too?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay, makes sense. That's all I have. Thank you.
Councilor Garcia.
So is this one of the JPAs you're looking at? Because it's dated 1982.
Yeah.
So you're reviewing that, but for now, we need this just for the board.
Yes.
Okay, I understand. That's all I have.
Thank you. If I could get a motion, please.
I'll make a motion for approval of ordinance number 23-1280, Senior Citizen Center Advisory Board.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, thank you. Roll call, Councilor Garcia.
Yes.
Councilor Michael.
Yes.
Councilor Gutierrez.
Yes.
Councilor Rodarte.
Yes.
Thank you very much. All right, we're on 122, discussion action approval ordinance number 24-1283, unrestricted municipal local option grocery receipts tax ordinance. This was on the agenda before. I believe Councilor Michaels requested this one to be back on.
Yes, I
If
did.
you want to iterate why you wanted to bring it back on.
Yes,
and-
I would like to do that, and I've had some discussions with the city manager. And just that, you know, in talking about this, I know nobody likes to hear taxes going up. But again, I'm gonna ask the manager to speak of what it would be like if we were to implement this tax and be kind of on the proactive end ahead of the game in banking money for our projects not projects, but for when things come up with our water, with our sewer, and then also helping to fund some of the things that our new EMS will need. So, I would like to ask Andrew to talk a little bit more to it regarding one of the comparisons that we were talking about that we made was our Santa Fe's project, USDA. I think a lot of people probably were under the impression that that was some kind of a grant funding, but it turns out it's not, that it was a loan.
Yes.
Is that correct? Can you speak just a little bit to that and to kind of what's happening there? Because as we go into these things without being proactive and finding a way through GRT to fund them, we're going to keep finding ourselves in that need to borrow money to extend long-term debt for citizens of grants. And so in just trying to think about it proactively and knowing this is the second state GRT drop that we've had in 2 years, it seemed like it would be time and could make sense to increase the city's GRT. So can you speak a little bit to the funding?
So, some of the reference that I like to use is we entered in a USDA loan, particularly Santa Fe Avenue. Sorry, Santa Fe Avenue is a USDA loan. In speaking with Victor and understanding what we did to get this project off the ground is we entered in a 40-year loan. So with this 40-year loan, we're talking about paying upwards of neighborhood of $9,000 per month for the next 40 years. So as I referenced that versus a GRT increase, we can have this GRT increase for 10 years, you know, if you choose. So the difference there, let alone, is you have 1.8 or 1.5% interest on this loan. Okay, obviously that's not a bad rate, but it's still something that we have to consider long-term, okay? And what I mean by that is long-term, it adds to our long-term debt. You know, what we want to do as manager and as finance, we want to reduce our long-term debt. And as the Board of Finance here, that's what your job is, to make sure that the city's not in debt for the long term and not in debt for monies that we have to fork out for years to come. One of the positives about this GRT increase would be any taxpayer whether it's a visitor, a resident, a non-resident, any taxpayer that purchases anything in the area would pay for this GRT increase. As opposed to the USDA loan, it's only your local residents they're paying for this. So there's a big difference there. We will all said and done, by the time the USDA loan is paid off, we'll paid off over $10 million on a $6 million loan. And then on the reverse, the tax would generate upwards of $1 million a year. And that would help fund our critical needs in our pipes department, where they need emergency funds. You know, we talked about the GO bonds and the ARPA funds that are no longer there. We can't rely on those funds to sustain our pipes department. Two breaks in the last month, 2 sewer collapse. One on Smith Street and one on Johnson was paid for by GO bonds. We don't have that money to rely on anymore. So this would help us establish some money that we could help generate $500,000 for our pipes department, $500,000 for our EMS department that we're kicking off the ground. So I think that in comparison, you're improving and lowering the long-term debt. That's the way that I look at it, and that's the way that I'm hired to look at it, as well as the finance department and the finance director. Any questions?
Councilor Michael, still on you?
Well, thank you, Mr. Manager. I think that it's important for us to consider. It is hard to see our future generations saddled with long-term debt and know what it must be like in budgeting to prepare for all of that and to know what we're planning for and doing. So I'm hoping, I know the last meeting, I apologize for my absence and lack to present on it, but I also know 2 of my fellow counselors were not in support at that time, and I would like to just hear from them and hopefully see if they've done some reconsideration or how this will go. But thank you for your time.
Councilor Garcia.
Thank you. I know I was one of the ones in opposition, and, you know, I appreciate your patience on much debate and talking about this, and my biggest concern is, will this money really go to what we're saying? And I know, talking with the treasurer, that was one of his goals when he started his long-term debt. He wanted to reduce that, and I know the language is in there now, and he also stated he'll be able to line item it, and it will truly go to that. I believe most of our budget should be handled by good budgeting. We should live within our means. But these 2 items are outside. You know, the emergency medical, we got to pay for that EMS. How can we do that? And I know you had mentioned before that, you know, if there's a good time to do it, now's the time. It's a small amount. It'll affect the least amount than if we waited. And again, I don't like passing on a 40-year debt. You know, I won't be around, but my great-granddaughter's sitting over there. She's going to pay for it. So I'd rather we start paying on that now. So I appreciate it, and I know the emergencies. We never had a funding if something went bad. I know in my district there's 2 or 3 of them. We got to pay for it, and we're borrowing against ourselves. So now that this is targeted, I think it's a good idea, and I appreciate everyone's patience, the mayor, the other council members. You know, and I was just looking, will it go to that? I know this group, yes, it would, but in 10 years from now, the people that are sitting here, oh, we got this extra money in here, let's spend it on a new park. That was my concern. I think this is taking care of that. So I'm in support of this. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Councilor Rodarte.
Just a little echoing a little bit what Councilor Garcia said, because I have been very vocal that I do not like to raise taxes. I think it's bad. I think we're taxed too much as it is, and not only here in the city, but statewide and nationwide. However, my biggest concern has been over the last few months, and this addresses that, is our EMS department. And I've made comments before, not only here, but in the county, that our first priority in this city is our citizens. I made a comment to the city manager the other day that we have an aging population, and we're very, very nervous about Superior taking care of our city. And so it is up to us to take care of our citizens, and I think that is our first priority, to take care of our citizens. Just like tonight, I witnessed it was a sad situation. I feel for Star, and but every time we see an ambulance out there, and if the ambulance can't go to an emergency service, that's bad. That is very bad, and we need to take care of our citizens. First priority is our citizens in Grants, and that was the biggest thing that convinced me that that this would be for our citizens, and so therefore I've pretty much kind of changed my mind on that. That's all I have.
Councilor Gutierrez.
I guess the first thing I could say is I'm appreciative of the other counselors reconsidering and kind of seeing, a bigger impact than, proposed before. But I'm still with, listening to our city manager last time was our investment into our community. And seeing this one, it comes from another avenue of how we're investing. Like on a long-term loan, it's just us. When we're looking at the GRT, we're looking at, there's more contributors to that. So I'm just appreciative that it's, the other counselors were looking at it like this, and let's move forward.
All right, thank you very much. Councilor Michael?
May I make one more comment,
Yes,
just to the effect of the ordinance, to let people know too, that I did ask for it to incorporate what is it called?
Sunset.
Sunset, so it will, it's only 10 years on this ordinance, so I just wanted to reiterate that. So like at 10 years, it's no longer a tax. So, thank you.
Thank you very much. All righty. Can I get a motion?
I will make a motion for approval of ordinance number 24-1283, unrestricted municipal local option gross receipts tax ordinance.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
I will second it.
Thank you very much. Roll call. Councilor Rodarte?
Yes.
Councilor Michael?
Yes.
Councilor Garcia?
Yes.
Councilor Gutierrez?
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Moving forward. All right. All right, we're on 1.23. We're on, there we go. Action approve lodgers tax funding fiscal year recommendations to grant Cibola County Chambers in the amount of $171,000. And I believe how many board members do you have here?
A few.
Nice. Can you recognize them?
No.
Please?
See him a while. Sylvia, past president.
Okay.
Heather Porter is current vice president, going to take my spot next
What?
month.
All right.
Who else we got? Melinda back there, she's new. And then we also have Cotton here with the Mining Museum and Les Gaines with the Mining Museum.
Nice. Well, thank you very much.
All right. Thanks for having me, city councilors and Mayor Garcia. So I'm here to answer whatever questions I can for our lodgers tax ask.
All right. Well, I appreciate you coming and all your members. Councilor Michael?
Well, I guess I'll just start with the elephant in the room, and that I was very discouraged and disappointed with what happened at the last meeting. I think that we were in our full right to request what the packets for lodgers tax stated, and when your director walked out cursing and calling me names, how was that addressed?
So technically, it really wasn't addressed because Don did resign. So we are a ship without a rudder at the moment.
So is there a chance that you're going to get funding and then rehire him?
No, Don made it clear this is a position he does not want. I did have a long talk with him. He just doesn't feel like he's the right person to be in this moment in time. But I do think he would have made a great executive director for the chamber.
Well, how does your board feel about him cussing me and saying what he did?
I do believe that we all feel that it was inappropriate, but it was one man's feelings. I would not say that that was something I would do, but I can't speak for Don. I am not Don. But our board did not sanction such things, but we actually had a discussion about it. We did believe in him, and we were going to move forward with him, but it was his decision to resign.
Okay, there was a lot of documents that were submitted. Can we go over those?
Sure.
And talk about them? It appears that your first document was your 2023 operating budget. So this was not a profit and loss, but it was what, it wasn't actuals, it was just what the operating budget was.
I am looking for which one you're talking
It's
about.
the first document.
Gotcha. Okay, what would you like to know?
These were just projected budget, not actuals, correct?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, so then we have a list of things that were not profit and loss statements, but on the other hand were lodger's tax invoices showing submissions for lodger's tax and what was requested for payments. It was significant. And then we get to page, it goes on after the invoices. Page 1 of 4 says the profit and loss from July 23 to February 24. And what I took from it when I looked at it and I was trying to do the math and making sure that I understood it well, but the bottom line is where I have questions, because it appears that on page 4 of the profit and loss statement, you're listing a net total expenses of $203,130.77. Under net operating income, there's a negative balance, $37,377.64. Can you explain that?
Okay, I'm looking for it. Okay, so for the most part, when we look at our profit and losses monthly, we're always somewhere around 30 behind because we're waiting for payments from lodger's tax. So for the most part, we're always behind. At any given time when you look at our profit and loss statement, it's never zero. When all said and done, like when we hand stuff into the tax man, it's zero. But at any given moment, it's usually, I've seen it, the best I think I've ever seen it is around 20. But it just depends on when we get our asks from the city.
Okay, so in the last meeting, there were board members here and Mr. Jaramillo stating that the Rugged West Rally took a significant loss. Can you
So,
speak to that? Because
we
it
were
doesn't
trying to-
seem that that's what this paper is showing.
So, I think what it is, you're looking at what it says, the net profit, or, let me make sure I'm looking at the same one as you. The one that says 2023 Rugged West profit and loss, that one, that has multiple columns? Okay, so, I actually had to go look at this again with our bookkeeper to make sure how she did it, so I can answer your question. What happened is this one's confusing, right, because it's taken from 2 fiscal years. So we have to pay 1 fiscal year to secure the DJ, all the entertainment, all that stuff, right? They're all deposits. And then we roll into the next fiscal year. So it does make it confusing. What ends up being here is, if you look at the profit, we had a profit of $2,892.12, but right above that is our budgeted profit, which is a loss. So what ended up happening is we used more lodger's tax money than we were initially thinking. So it depends on how you look at it.
How is that?
I'm not exactly sure what you mean.
Well, how does it depend on how you look at it?
So based on the funds that we did use, we did get a profit of roughly $2,800. However, we were hoping not to use some of those funds. So we used more funds than we were hoping.
You used, that being the $34,171.62?
Somewhere in there. It would be a little different than that. It would be more around 31,000, somewhere around there.
What this document you gave us says, the 34,000.
Well, I know, but making the difference.
All right, well.
Any more questions for me?
I don't think I have any more questions at this time.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Ugarte?
Looking over the paperwork that you submitted, just want to say thank you, first of all, because the council did request an itemized budget, and I'm glad that this was submitted to us, because we didn't have privy to any of this information before. And this is something that we'd like to review on an annual basis every year, and whatever funds we award to the chamber, to any other entity, I'm glad that the city is going to, at this point, make it pretty much mandatory that we get this kind of figures so that we can review them and see where we're at. So with that, I just want you to know I'm impressed with all these figures. I'm not big on math, but I can understand some of it. So thank you very much, sir. That's all I have. Thank you.
Councilor Gutierrez?
Unfortunately, I wasn't here for the last special meeting. I was at work. But it was kind of sad to see how things unfolded. Whereas there's passionate people in this room, there's passionate people in the city who want the city to grow. There's just a little bit of obstacles. But just looking out in the crowd tonight, seeing all the board members, knowing every one of them, one thing that stuck in my mind with I believe it was Kate Elkins, talking about how this is all volunteer. You guys are doing stuff and making things work, sometimes with your own money, so it's all your own time. When I see lodger's tax, I don't see it as a business transaction where we're going to make a lot of money. You have to spend money to make money and hopefully attract, especially with what Chamber of Commerce does. I do understand, that's kind of what we asked, is to have, an itemized list and breakdown, but I also know management's changed with Ms. Curtright being gone. And then again, it's what you guys are doing with what you guys have already. But ultimately, when I think of economic development, when I think of attraction, this is where, money needs to be spent. And I also know that's where the Lodgers Tax Board, had already approved and was okay with it, answering questions. So I'm letting you guys know I'm in full support with where you guys are going.
Thank you very much. Councilor Garcia?
I just want to say thank you to the chamber for coming back and re-asking for this. What I'm looking for is just transparency. I know Mr. Elkins made the comment, he knows who puts heads in beds. But I remember years ago, the bike rally put heads in beds, but there was a lot of the other funding that we didn't know what happened to. And that's why I'm asking for the transparency, and if we could get updates more than just during this time.
And that's one of the things, I remember when we first started this, we always wondered how we would be able to justify it, because it's not money that we actually see, right? Like, it's not money that goes through us.
Right.
And so, I don't know. When we started this, we always figured it would be a loss, and we were always hoping to break even. That was
Right.
Really what we were going for.
And if it brings us the quality of life, because the people do enjoy this, so that's understandable.
Yeah.
As long as we can see, okay, that's where it did. That didn't work out this year, we won't do that again, but I understand that.
Yeah.
And the document that Mr. Jaramillo brought last time, is it the chamber board's vision to go forward with the items on this?
So a lot of the items were actually discussions I know that Donna and I had moving forward. The thing we've always had an issue with events is, like like 4th of July, then when we did the Halloween one, then when we even did our chamber banquet. Having like a PA system would be fantastic. It's difficult. I find myself yelling a lot at the chamber banquet. That one worked decent. I didn't have to yell too much. I don't know if people could kind of hear me, but that's definitely one that I really know we need, especially going forward. If we're going to stick with that vision, I think the community does have. We're building towards that that celebration of Route 66 and 26. It's It's not terribly expensive. They're surprisingly cheap now. I remember I looked for it. I was like, Dad, Don, we should look at this one. I couldn't believe, because last time I looked was like 10 years ago, and oh my, right? But technology progresses. Other things we've been talking about, trailer for events. Basically, right now, everything gets hauled into the basement, hauled out of the basement. It's hard to organize because it's, basically we ask our employees to organize it later, and then we go back and find it. I don't know, it's just trying to move forward to do the best we can. We're not a huge fan of doing events because we're business people who would rather do business. Like for instance, not that I ever had a dream of setting up a vending booth, but I could never set up a vending booth because I'm too busy running the event, if that makes any sense.
Yes.
So it would just be nice to have a few things to make our lives easier. I'm not sure where the Rugged West is going to be 5 years from now, but I know we're going to keep trying to do it. It seems like it's something the community enjoys, and it seems like something that it's a nice group of people. The people I've met that have come to the event have all been fantastic, and it seems like something worth continuing.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you very much. I'm in full support of supporting the chambers. I mean, you guys do a good job you guys are all volunteers, like Councilor Gutierrez said. It's difficult, and I appreciate you guys, trying to make our community better. Most of you guys are business people, and, being a business person, it's, you want to give back, but sometimes, you're running your own business, but you still want to, go forward and try to help as much as you can. And your guys' team is, they do well. You guys have a very good
really
board.
try.
You have a really good board.
And can I say just one
You
thing off
betcha.
topic, because I know she's watching? Happy birthday, Emma.
All right. Happy birthday, Emma.
Matt's getting old.
All right. If I can get a motion, please.
I'll make a motion for the approval of lodgers tax funding FY25. Recommendation to the Grants Cibolo County Chamber of Commerce in the amount of $171,000.
Thank you. Second.
I'll second.
Thank you. Roll call. Councilor Michael.
No.
Councilor Garcia.
Yes.
Councilor Gutierrez.
Yes.
Councilor Rodarte.
Yes.
Thank you. That one will pass. Thank you very much.
Thanks, sir.
All right, we're on 1.24, discussion action approval lodger tax fiscal year recommendation in New Mexico Mining Museum of $30,000. Mr. Congerald. Sir, how are you?
Council members,
Hello, hello.
I guess I'm here for the
We're here
the
for
next target.
There you go. Councilor Michael.
If you could go to someone else first, please, I'm not ready.
Okay, Councilor Garcia.
No, again, they had brought forward from last time, kind of understood what they needed. All we asked was for preceding documents from the previous fiscal year. You attached them, I was able to review them. Thank you for doing that.
Thank you
I have
very
no
much.
question.
Thank you, Councilor Gutierrez.
Again, like I said, I'm a big fan of the Miners Museum and what all you guys do there, and as well as the Chamber of Commerce. Like, you guys when we talk about public safety and how important public safety is in our town, like, this is right on that same plate. This is what brings people in, so I'm all on board with you guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Councilor Rodarte.
Again, I'm impressed with your financials. Thank you very much for that. Is the board of the Mining Museum also is like Councilor Gutierrez says a volunteer, correct?
Yeah, we're all volunteers, and we've made a little bit of change in our board that historically we've tried to have minors on there. So now we've partnered with the school systems looking at STEM projects. So we've got some educators on our board to help us go forward and grow to hopefully someday when we get the addition that we'll be doing STEM carnivals and trying to bring the youth into the museum and help them understand mining and what mining has been for this area.
Thank you, sir. With that said, I do always applaud when there's volunteers that are volunteering to do jobs that require to be done. But with that, the quality of service should never be different from a volunteer than a paid employee, because I've done much volunteer myself, work on different areas, and I'm expected to do what a paid employee would do. So, and I applaud anybody who volunteers and helps. I think that's great, but I think sometimes volunteers, they get the vision of what's going on, and they gladly give their time to make things happen. So, sir, thank you very much for this. That's all I have.
Councilor Michael.
On your profit and loss statement, again, it's showing negative balances. Can you explain that?
I'm probably like Councilor Ugarte, that I'm not the biggest math fan, but we'll stumble through it if you want to be specific. I'm sorry.
Page 3 of 3 of the profit and loss statement shows a deficit of $20,000, $20,613.11.
So on pages 1 and 2, show where the profits was, shows where that loss was, and where we came up with that $20,000 deficit.
So does that mean like that the books are in the red, or is it again similar to what Chambers said, that there may have been invoices not submitted yet? Is
Yeah,
that what's going on?
I believe that was in your packet also, the invoices that have been submitted to lodger's tax. I believe there was 6 of them.
Yes.
That we're still waiting for those funds to come in.
So these ones.
So we run on that same system as in with the lodger's tax. We're always
Okay.
behind on that.
That makes more sense. These are then requests, and these are reimbursements that have not been made yet.
True.
Okay. Yes, it's not, it doesn't seem to be tallying up to the 20,613. But, okay. I have no more questions.
Okay. Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion for the approval of lodger's tax fiscal year 25 funding recommendation to the New Mexico Mining Museum in the amount of $30,000.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call. Councilor Michael?
No.
Councilor Rodarte?
Yes.
Councilor Gutierrez?
Yes.
Councilor Garcia?
Yes.
Thank you very much. That'll pass.
Support.
Thank you, sir. All right, we're discussion 126, action approval of lodger's tax fiscal year 25 funding recommendation to Grants Main Street in the amount of 10,000.
No.
Yeah, Grants Main Street.
125.
Oh, sorry, I'm sorry. 125, Legion. Approval fiscal year funding recommendation to American Legion Rider Chapter 18 in the amount of 8,000. Thank you, sorry about that one. I skipped you guys. Hello, American Legion. How are you ladies? Good evening.
How are you guys?
Thank you
doing?
for waiting.
I'm Brenda with the American Legion. I am the secretary for the Riders, Chapter 18.
Thank you.
Candy Williams, I am here as the treasurer for the Riders.
All right, well, thank you very much. This is one we added back to the table. Councilor Michael?
Can they speak a little to the proposal?
Sure, so this event that we started this event during the bike rally many years ago. Aaron D was on that board and put it along with the rodeo, or with the bike rally. So when the bike rally stopped, we kind of continued it. We had a couple of years where people asked, are you guys going to still do the rodeo? And we got together and thought, how can we raise money for veterans doing the rodeo? So this is our 8th year doing the Bikers versus Bulls event. We change it every year, getting it bigger and better.
This year, the thought is, because it is hot in the middle of July, because we still do the 3rd weekend of July, just like the bike rally was, we want to do a canopy, a 40 by 80 canopy, so that all the events are under the canopy, so that it's cooler for the spectators and the participants in the rodeo. And this year, we're also doing it as a 3-day event. Friday night will start as a meet and greet with karaoke. Saturday, we will do a ride through town and have lunch. And then that afternoon, we will do our Bikers versus Bulls, our events. That evening, we will have a band. And then the following morning, we are going to do an Operation Wounded Warriors ride through the community to raise money for the funds that go to help our veterans that are in need.
Thank you.
And one of the items on there that I'm sure you're looking at is a new sound system, because ours is very, very old, and it crackles sometimes, and taking it in and out, it's gone over its time, so that's one of the items we're also looking at purchasing with this money.
Okay. Thank you. Your income statement makes a lot of sense. I can understand it. Thank you very much. I have nothing else.
Thank you. Councilor Garcia.
Thank you again for coming back and asking. I appreciate what you guys do for veterans. I'm a member of the Post, so I know this has been a deal. Last year, I remember you tried to partner with Mr. Lackey, and that kind of went awry with the Red River thing. So this, you're doing independent this year, right?
Yes, sir.
Just your own?
Last year, we actually moved our date so that it wasn't coincide with that because of the restrictions due to Red River.
Okay.
Is why our date was changed last year.
I see.
And that did come to board for approval.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have, Mayor.
Councilor Duarte?
No questions.
Thank you. Councilor Gutierrez?
All support, no questions.
Thank you. All righty. Can I get a motion?
Make a motion for approval of Lodgers Tax Fiscal Year 25 funding recommendation to American Legion Riders, Chapter 18, in the amount of $8,000.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call. Councilor Michael?
Yes.
Councilor Garcia?
Yes.
Councilor Duarte?
Yes.
Councilor Gutierrez?
Yes.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
guys. Okay, Main Street. Approval of Lodger Tax Fiscal Year 25 funding recommendations to Grants Main Street in the amount of $10,000. Mr. Yarborough. All right, this one, council.
Good evening, everyone.
Have you reviewed documents for Lodgers, or for Main Street? Thank you. Comments from Councilor. Councilor Michael?
Can you present?
What is he presenting?
I can make a few comments if you'd like.
Please.
Some changes from our proposal from last time. We did make some changes to include more money in entertainment, because it costs at least half of what we've submitted now. While the Lodgers tax has recommended $10,000, we are requesting $20,000, half of that being in musical entertainment. Anyone noteworthy is going to cost $4,000. We'd like to spend the entire day filled with music in the park during our car show.
This one was for 10,000 on the agenda.
Right.
So you're just adding 20,000 right now?
I'm adding an additional 10. What I resubmitted was $20,000. The lodgers tax recommended $10,000. Last year, we were provided $15,000 total for lodgers tax. That was to include $10,000 for the car show, $2,500 for some ancillary materials, and another $15,000 for general promotions. This year,
we're not having the car show this year, right?
That's correct. We've canceled it this year. I'll just say the unforeseen circumstances was the lack of a full-time director to push that event through when it needed it. There, in the first months of this year, is when you're getting commitments for sponsors, registrants, vendors, whatever else. By the time it rolled around this month, what we saw was not the same show as we did last year. We'd rather not spend that lodgers tax money on a show that was going to be not up to par than to spend that in a 2-week period and see, that not come out. We'd rather not spend that money, what's the word I'm looking for? It seemed unresponsible to spend that money in a 2-week period, what was supposed to be over 6 months. But in other cases, what we applied for last year were some avenues like Spotify advertisement in magazine publications rooted for Route 66 attendees. Without a director, we couldn't facilitate those, so for this upcoming year, we're requesting funding for traditional media outlets, our papers, Cibola, Citizen, Gallup Independent, the Journal, putting it in multiple radio stations, and then also social media, so hitting kind of the 3 larger points of influence whether you're listening, seeing, or reading.
But last time you were going for 10,000, but the council decided not to do it because you didn't have your profit and loss statement. Then you went back and wanted to add more money to it?
No, we originally asked for 20,000, but the lodger's tax recommended 10,000. And it's kind of,
They asked the lodger's tax for 20,
yes.
but the lodger's tax
Recommended 10.
I would just make the point to implore you that we do in fact need that additional $10,000 for it to be a quality show. Part of bringing folks in, locals as well as outside tourists, is to have acts that keep them here overnight. If there's no reason for them to stay after the show, which would end about 4 or 5, they still have that decision time to say, oh, well, we can still make it back to Flagstaff. It's only 4 hours. But if they stay an extra 3, listening to, I don't know, Jerry Dean or Al Hurricane, Los Lonely, someone of noteworthy, it would reconsider their minds to stay here another night.
Yours packet didn't have the parade for Christmas.
It did not have we didn't mention the parade in Christmas for lodger's tax because it's not generally a heads and beds event. And we traditionally have, I mean, in the past couple of years I've been involved, we haven't put that as a heads and bed event just because there's Christmas parades in Albuquerque and Gallup and public lands and things like that.
Councilor Michael.
I guess the issue I have is that we approved $45,000 of city funding to you guys last meeting.
Mhm.
And then in the last 6 months, 2 events have been canceled. So I guess I'm having again a little bit of doubt in what's going on here with the Main Street and how this isn't working out with the cancellation of events. Because a lot of people, I know that there were thoughts, there was stuff coming up with the light show because we thought Santa Fe was going to close, but then it didn't. And a lot of people complained that that event didn't take place, that they were really looking forward to it. Their families look forward to it every year. And then again, right after giving the $45,000, we're not notified individual, we're just see it on social media. It's canceled, and there was no real explanation to the public of what was going on. So those are my comments. I have nothing else to say.
Thank you, Councilor Rodarte.
At this point, William, do you have any prospects for a director?
We have one person who's applied. From the onset, they look like a person that can handle the job. Our previous encounter with hiring staff was to have a part-time individual. Became really clear that they needed to be full-time, and we never really saw a difference in the output of that kind of work between part-time and full-time. So neither here nor there, but we hope to see that this person, from what I know of this person, they have the experience to host things like this event. Everything else, Main Street, you really get trained up on it as a director through New Mexico Main Street. They have a boot camp. They put new directors through a gamut of property revitalization, economic vitality, the design portion of things, project management, as well as the event management side of things, which I think this person has the experience in.
Well, you mentioned earlier that the last project was canceled because of a lack of a director, correct?
That's right.
And that's my concern there. If you have no director, then where's this money going to go?
Well, it doesn't get spent, the $45,000 in particular doesn't get spent, it's on reimbursement. So if we don't find a director in the first 3 months, we eventually will, and ideally we will. I would say, given enough time, we'll find there'll be someone who can make the mark. But otherwise, yeah, it doesn't get spent. It doesn't get spent unresponsibly. You'll just, once we do get a new director, that person will take on forward our next fiscal year of projects, which would begin July 1st. Starting with probably the Shop Small events. We do intend to still continue doing our mural project, coming back at it, applying for grants once that person's in place, and as a board member and board of directors assisting that person with that work.
Well, personally, I don't like to see events canceled, and because, like I mentioned earlier, the people in this area are hungry for events to take place, and when we get their hopes up, we're going to have this great event, have this great singers and bands, and then all of a sudden, it's gone. And I get to hear it from the public. Say, why are they canceling another event? I was looking forward to it. I want to take my family downtown and enjoy it. So with that said, If we have a new director coming on board here soon, I hope he comes on board on fire.
I would hope so too. Definitely some passion that I can lend. And as far as this year's promise for entertainment and events, we had only $2,000 for entertainment. That's for music and bounce houses and whatever else. By a couple weeks back, we had an off food truck, and they were serving lemonade. It's the kind of thing you don't want to invite guests to your house if you don't have something ready for them, if everything's in disarray. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to, for folks that were coming from out of town, I can say personally, this is my vote that I made that we would cancel it because I didn't feel like the event was ready to invite people to our town. I didn't want to set them loose into a place where they couldn't find something to eat, where there weren't enough prizes for the car show contestants, where there's not adequate enough music or other vendors involved. It just doesn't, it turns into the Fire and Ice in the last 5 years of the Fire and Ice, where there's not enough there. It's not the same excitement that they saw from previous years. So
that's all I have. Thank you.
Councilor Garcia?
Yeah, you made the comment about the Christmas parade. There's some in Albuquerque, but not everybody can afford to go there. So that's all we got in our area for our citizens. Plus, it's the middle of winter. A lot of people don't want to take a night drive there.
Certainly.
So is there a balance, since 2 events were canceled? Is there a balance? Did you use all the lodger's tax you received last year?
We did not. There's a good 13,000 and some change of lodger's tax not used. 10,000 of that was to be used for the car show, which we are canceling.
So
we get canceled.
That's left over, and no outstanding invoices, nothing?
Nothing else.
Okay.
I will say that while the light parade was canceled, we usurped it with another event, the Cookie Crawl, which provided families an activity to do during the day when it's not and so entirely cold. It was definitely windy out there, and that's some of the things that I see on the outset of that light parade event happening at night. It needs to. It's a lighted parade, but at the same time, having families out in the cold is kind of hard, as well as for our volunteers. So
that's all I have to say.
Thank you very much. Councilor Gutierrez?
So right now, you're sitting, like, your budget right now in hand is 13,000?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
$13,000 till June 30 to spend, but it's specifically for Spokes on 66. 10,000 of that, at least 10,400. The other amount was for general advertising. We could probably still use that in Facebook if there's, if we wanted to mention out Big Boys here on Wednesdays or something like that to try and pull people off the interstate. That was that intention of general use.
So that's not the car show being canceled, you're saying, right? What's
the amount that is tied to the car show is 10,400.
Well,
and it's not. It's been described to me that it's not very easy to just use that somewhere else. What has been applied for this specific use can be maybe juggled between different uses, but if it's for an event, you can't really shift that to a new type of event.
No. And I guess I just asked because there's been a lot of investment with little return, and it's, you know what I mean? Again, I don't know if I could do what you're doing. You know what I mean? It's hard trying to get rolling and stuff. I think you had momentum, but like right now, it just kind of looks. We need to start small and get bigger. I don't know.
Well, that was the intention of the first show. We wanted to have it a 2-3 day show, but we had some folks who've done car shows to say, hey, you want to start small, work your way up to a 2-3 day event. And so, and that's where we saw ourselves this year is like, we're not seeing growth. Why are we going to spend this money on it not to grow? I can't remember if last meeting was mentioned that this lodger's tax fund stays in 2 years. The money's available. And so just wanted to make that note to say, if nothing else, this rolls over into our next year for us to make a bigger impact.
Thank you very much. All right, can I get a motion? Because we're going to make a motion on the amount of, whatever the council decides.
Yeah, whichever you decide.
10 to 20,000. I could get a motion, please.
I would still like to make a motion to approve a lodger's tax in fiscal year 25 funding recommendation to the Grants Main Street in the amount of $10,000.
Second,
I'll second it.
open for discussion. Anybody else? Roll call. Counselor Michael?
No.
Counselor Garcia?
No.
Counselor Gordarte?
Yes.
Counselor Gutierrez?
Yes.
And I'll break it with a yes.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council.
All righty. All right, we're on discussion 1.27, action approval. Cibola Economics Development Foundation fiscal year 25-year funding. This was on the agenda before. We really didn't get an explanation on why it was not necessarily to fund it. As I keep going around into our state pass and trying to figure out this funding and where to follow, who to go look at, I always come across economic development. It's one of the biggest things that we're trying to do on the City of Grants, as you hear in our meetings. Economic development is what we're all striving for a better life here. Without this organization, I've been going to this meeting now for 3 or 4 times, I believe, and we're making progress now. Everyone is pretty transparent on what we're trying to do. Outdoor recreation is one of their biggest key components in trying to figure out the next step for us. We just went to the state legislative forum. All of them were there. There was 30 of them. State representatives from all over the state coming over here. Eileen Yarbrough was here defending her ask to help us in every possible way. That's what Economic Foundation does. I wish that it was easy. I wish it was like people would see what we see every day in Grants, New Mexico to try to come here. It's difficult. I mean, I've been at this game for 4 years and I don't get everything I want, but I know people who are the key people to try to help us get us there, and economic development is it. So I would like a discussion, please, on the funding, and I would ask to fund, please, because if not, we lose a seat at the board, at the table, and we really need to know what's really going on and just try to help out, because it takes everybody to try to get us to the right path for success. Comments from the council. Councilman Garcia.
Thank you. Yes, last time, and I had a good conversation with Ms. Yarbrough. I'm glad you reached out afterwards. And because for me personally, I didn't know what economic development did. I'd never seen it, never heard special projects, anybody else. The name obviously makes sense, but my concern for me personally was, what are we getting for our money? And I know we had that discussion today, and you really helped enlighten it. And I didn't know the impact if we don't have, a seat at the table. Is there a state economic development, there federal that we're going to miss out on? What do we pay for the seats? I know that's probably wrong terminology, but if we put into this, we have more seats at the table. That part I understand, but I still didn't understand what are we getting for it. And I know in years past, there was a lot of economic development discussion within our department. Lately, it faded away, but we've got new people in place, our city manager, our projects, special projects that are willing to work with it, and if you can, to help me understand.
Sure. Good evening, Mayor, Council, and guests. What I can say that your $40,000 went towards last year was specifically business retention and expansion, and it's because I didn't get a specific grant that I needed to go out of state to travel for recruitment. I traveled within the state and met with site selectors and different people from out of state, but there was no out-of-state travel done. What was done with the City of Grants' money was we're working on advertising the remaining 19.2 acres in the Cibola Industrial Park and working to get that on the New Mexico Economic Development's websites and all the places that we need for site selectors and relocation, expansion businesses to find it. We also worked on, visiting businesses, finding out what it is that they need. And so this is all just work that I do every day. If I go visit somebody, I'm a salaried employee, but the cost and the time to go someplace, to sit down with them, to go through that survey and get all the information on their business, and then follow up with them and say, okay, you showed me this and that. I see that you're low on workforce and your productivity is low because you don't have workforce. Okay, so I hook you up with New Mexico Workforce Connections. And New Mexico Connections, I tell them about all of the workforce opportunities and resources that are available for them to train, to pay for projects, those kinds of retrain, employment, projects, upskilling, helping that business do better so that they can create jobs within their business. SBA quotes that 80% of jobs are created from existing businesses. And while we're out recruiting, we have to be out there. Our main focus needs to be here at home and to make sure that our businesses here are thriving and getting what they need to be productive and profitable and successful.
And I know you'd made a comment. We had a discussion about the infrastructure. That was one of the things. Well, we're doing a major infrastructure upgrades. So is that going to be able to help you?
Absolutely. I'm thrilled. When last meeting I said I was so excited about all the orange barrels because it does mean progress. And we do need to move into the 21st century. Our infrastructure from A to Z it's all outdated, with the exception of fiber broadband. And thank goodness economic development got behind that effort, because we're a gig city and a gig county now. If we didn't have that, all of our infrastructure would be outdated. So, we are moving in the right direction to get everything updated, ready to go. Time is money for private sector, and if they have to sit and wait, 3 phases, which might be 3 years or whatever, they're gonna take the path of least resistance and go where someone is ready for them. So all I can say is that I've been working all these years to put these foundational pieces in place. And when I first started working here, all of the entities included me in their planning of land use, everything. I was invited to all the planning meetings, and I was able to kind of facilitate and help everybody work together. Obviously, administrations changed, and then all of a sudden, I wasn't invited to anything. So I can't help our communities plan for economic development if I'm not included in it. And I can't recruit people here if I don't know what you guys have been planning or what the infrastructure timeline looks like, right? Are we looking at 20 years? Are we looking at 5 years? Then that greatly affects what I can bring here in those timelines.
Well, hopefully we can open those doors. And I know, talking to some private business owners in the last weeks, they prefer a kind of a separate economic development compared to as if we had one within the city.
Right.
Because there is a time when there is a non-disclosure that they appreciate until they're willing to reveal
Correct.
their new business or enterprise. So I know they're in favor of that.
Yeah, there are a lot of things that EDOs can do that governmental agencies cannot, or are bound by and cannot by your charter and such. All of the information that a city economic developer that you hired, everything is subject to IPRA. Businesses that are relocating do not want people to know what's going on until they're ready to let people know what's going on. The reporting acts, we have a private board, so we can call a meeting like that. It doesn't have to have a special posting time. You know, there's a lot of regulations through the governmental entities that hamstring your ability to do some of this economic development work, and that's why CCEDF was created.
Thank you. Appreciate
You're
those
welcome.
comments. That's all I have
You're
here.
welcome.
Thank you. Counselor Michael?
So, okay. You talked about that you have like a partnership with, is it Cibola Communities or another nonprofit?
The Cibola Foundation.
Cibola Foundation. So you're looking at advertising for sale of property they own in the industrial park, is that right?
Correct.
Do they provide funding to you?
In a manner, yes. If there's resources that we need, we can submit a request to them, and they will consider it for funding. Our recent request was to put up literally a big billboard to market the remaining property, and they agreed to fund that.
Do you know how much that was?
I gave them a range of $5,000 to $10,000 because I want a really big sign and I want to move that property.
So then they were also the entity that sold land to Continental Divide where they built. Was that land that was sold through Cibola Foundation as well?
Correct.
Okay. Do you know what they do with the money?
I do not. I do not sit on that board.
Okay.
They
thank
were
you.
established when the uranium mines left. The money
Yeah,
was,
I remember all of that.
yeah.
Okay, I have nothing else.
Thank you. Counselor Rodarte?
I guess the only thing I have to say, Eileen, thank you for reaching out to me. And I don't understand all the mechanics of economic development. I know that I'm sure it's very involved and takes a lot of time. As an elected official, excuse me, I do get a lot of calls from my constituents, and I make it a point that I listen to my constituents. I don't know, and their frustrations and what they question. And I have constituents call me and they're frustrated because they think grants should be bigger than what it is. They think grants should be progressing more than what it is. They see that we've had past. I know that we're working on the project to put the infrastructure across I-40 to the rodeo grounds. I know that we had motels looking at relocating there, but because of our infrastructure, there was no way they were going to go move out there. And some of those things are easy to explain. Other things, I'm at a loss, because you know better than I do. And the only thing I would ask of you, Eileen, is you reached out to me. I'd like for you to reach out to me more often.
Yes, sir.
Because if there's anything I can do to assist, to help, and if maybe I have a contact that maybe you don't have, that we can move forward on, that would be great. And if I'm educated, I know how to answer my constituents. That's all I have. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Counselor Gutierrez?
Like was echoed, appreciate you reaching out. But I understand, I'm not going to say I don't know economical development, but it's the foundation and building blocks of growing. So when I look at like your analogy of it, I kind of think of ranching. Like some people see grass and they see profit. Some people see the product now and they want now. You know what I mean? So I think economical development is a not an instant gratification. It's not recouping your money right there. And again, I'm going with the word investing into people do what they do on their jobs. And then that's what you do. So I'm totally in favor of supporting and you communicating with the city manager and with us of, what your plans are moving forward. Because, that's your job and that's what you're paid to do. So I'm in support of you.
Thank you.
All righty. Thank you very much. Let's go for a motion.
I'll make a motion for the approval of Cibola County's Economic Development Foundation fiscal year 25 funding of $40,000.
Second? How much? 40,000.
40.
Second?
With that said, I'm willing to give Eileen another year. I'll second it.
Thank you. Roll call, Counselor Michael.
Yes, I think Cibola Foundation should be funding them. I'm voting no.
Say that again?
I think Cibola Foundation should be funding them, and my vote is no.
Okay. Counselor Garcia?
Yeah, I agree with Ms. Michael that both foundations should be funding them, but I believe we should also. So my vote is yes.
Counselor Rodarte?
Yes.
Thank you. Counselor Gutierrez?
Yes.
Thank you very much. That'll pass. Thank you.
Thank you.
Comments from council? Counselor Michael?
Boy, big agenda. We spent $1,024,502.80 tonight, not including the 2.1 million for the airport. So busy agenda, busy time. Thank you for all your work, Mr. Manager. Appreciate it. And for all the city employees, I appreciate it. Thank you. I have nothing else.
Councilman Rodarte?
The only thing I would request at this point is to, if you'd all join me in a moment of silence for Star's loss today. It was, I just felt bad for her loss, and she came home from work and found him passed away in the kitchen. So if you don't mind bowing your heads and giving a moment of silence. Thank you all. Thank you very much. That's all I have.
Thank you. Councilman, Mr. Garcia?
I just, again, want to thank everyone that came out, once again, that applied previously. My thing is, if I got to put my signature on anything, I want to know what I'm signing. I'm not just going to rubber stamp something. You know, I know the Lodgers Tax Board, and they work hard, and I'm willing to go off their recommendations, but I still want to scrutinize it if I'm going to sign it as I represent the citizens. So I thank everyone for their patience and understanding and the debate and discussion that we had this evening. I do appreciate it. Thank you. That's all I have, Mayor.
Councilor Z?
Same thing. There was agreements, but I appreciate the progress we're making moving forward on the things we are. Again, thank you, City Manager, all the employees. Fran, you're the man.
Fran, you're the man?
You're the man, Fran. You know what I mean. But other than that, just again, like the ones, you know, our citizens who make this, you know, make our place what it is, public safety, everyone else here. I just appreciate being able to be a part of something moving forward and looking on to the next one. So, and one more time, congratulations to the 2024 baseball state champions. Go Pirates.
Yeah, William, Coach. Thank you. I would like to, did you guys notice around, you know, through the discussions, like the city of Grants, like everybody, I mean, we're all working together. Last 4 years, it's really come a long way from where I started in council. Thank you, Andrew. You're developing a team over here that's really phenomenal, and I'm very proud to be the mayor of this town. Thank you very much to you and your team. I want to thank the GHS baseball team. You really, you guys dream big, and you brought this community together, so thank you very much. That was exciting. And I want to thank Councilman Z. He is the next leader at Milan Middle School, or elementary, the Milan Elementary. So thank you for coming back to our district. With that said, we will close this meeting at 9:42.
We're going to have the city manager's comment.
You have a comment? Sorry, I'm sorry, Andrew. Let's go back.
You want to end? It's
No, sorry. I didn't even know you added that one. I'm sorry. Yes, sir.
No, first of all, I want to just say thank you for agreeing, disagreeing, but coming to a conclusion that we're moving forward in the city. First of all, for our employees, I get that feedback a lot about what happens here reflects on what they do. They appreciate that you can get and move forward. So I appreciate what they do. They make me look good. So again, they do a tremendous job, and thank you for putting stuff forward. Again, a couple of things. We got a new sign that we had over there by the railroad, that we had the Moro closed down for a little bit, and then we put enjoy your Labor Day weekend, so that was pretty neat. So that board's up. There's a Facebook page now that's for special projects. So get on there, make sure you watch the meetings, so that there's updates. But again, I wanted to alliterate that our employees are kicking butt, so, and the city's moving forward. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, we'll end that meeting at 8:44. 9:44.